Nah. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I told him 3 o'clock, you know. Yes, sir. All right, we about to get started. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. All right, we're gonna have a discussion today. Mr. Info Philly, you want to introduce yourself, brother?
Yeah, I guess you could just say I'm a Christian. I try to stick with the facts and the truth, and whichever way it goes. So
Okay.
that's how I live my life. Whichever's the truth, that's the truth, and I try to follow it.
Okay. All right, and so matter of fact, yeah. Tell us, what did you have a problem with?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a problem. I was watching several of your videos, and sometimes you got guests on there, but I was listening, and some of the stuff he was saying was a lot of Christians are not aware of certain topics or certain things that are in the Bible, like whether it's the tithes or just regular Christian doctrine. And I hear that a lot from people who say they talk to Christians. So, and I'm like, all right, I'm a Christian who follows the Bible. So if it's the facts, it's the facts. So
Right.
that's why I wanted to have a discussion to put some clarity. And mind you, majority of people who claim to be Christians are just followers. Like they're not actually, you know, Christ followers. They follow their pastors or follow whatever some other guy's teaching them. So they're Christian in name, but they're not like Christian at heart, where they
Yeah.
actually doing what they're supposed to do.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that. That's true.
So I wanted to bring some clarity on that, on what a real Christian is supposed to believe.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely need that. So, it was a video. It was the contradictions. You said it was one of the videos you commented on. It was about the contradictions. I do remember that.
Well, yeah. Explain to me what contradictions there are. You got to also forgive me because I've been also the past several months debating with a few Muslims. So there's a lot
Okay.
of videos I've been commenting on, and a lot of scriptures and deep diving I've been doing. So, but yeah, contradictions in the Bible. Like yeah, what are your examples?
The ones that I gave out in the last debate.
Let's see.
You got lighter? I got lighter. The ones that I gave out in the last debate.
So what's the big fundamental flaw with Christianity that Christians might not be aware of?
It's like this. It's a thing called ominism. It's the belief that there is a little bit of truth in every religion, but also mixed in with a little bit of politicalness, a little bit of perversion in order to have control and to install fear amongst the people. Whereas you have the true follower that's pure at heart and pure at spirit that really wants to advance in the religious or spiritual growth. But then you have the pastor who's over them that's not for their betterment, more for the betterment of themselves. But all of this is public information at this point in time. We're no longer living in the dark ages. So you can simply go look up on the internet 101 Bible contradictions, or probably more. There's even like little bitty YouTubers, like a little bitty young little bit European girl that her title is that she destroys the Bible in like 5 minutes and points out a lot of flaws in the Bible.
All right, so could you say like your top 3? Because a lot of times I go on those videos and there's stuff that's not necessarily in the correct content.
Okay, like the resurrection of Jesus Christ. If you go into the different parables, let me get lighter. If you go into the different parables, there are like 3 different accounts. In one account, it's Mary and Mary Magdalene who go to see him, to clean them up and put oils on them and whatnot. And then in a different account, it's like 2 or 3 people that go to see him, and the Stonehenge is already removed. Then it's like another account that states that they go there and because of the glow and the brightness, they were so afraid to even look that way. So like they never went to his tomb. So it's like 3 different accounts that have 3 different types of of crews put together. It's like not the same people. Like they don't align. You know.
Right. So let's
Um,
say, because we also got to use our logic here. There's also an order of events. But have you seen that movie Vantage Point?
no, sir.
All right. So, but are you familiar with a vantage point is? Perspectives, different views.
Uh-huh.
Now, you can either have a vantage point where it's different perspectives of the same account, or you can have direct contradiction, which means it's a false account. So we just determine what's the truth.
Well, if we're going off the Bible, being that is not a historical book, it wouldn't make a difference anyways, because the Bible is not a historical book. You can't find any one of these people in the Bible. None of these people.
What do you mean
None
we
of these
can't
people.
find them? How will we find a lot of people that were cremated? Like, how will we do that? That's impossible.
Okay, but they've been finding ancient Egyptian pharaohs that predate all these Bible characters, and they're still getting dug up. So that's
Yeah, but
called
it's not like
anthropology.
it's not.
Anthropology is when you study the study of bones, and you date how old these bones go back into cultures and civilizations. And this helps better on your scholarship and on your science when you're
So
trying
do you?
to. Yes, sir.
So do you think? I mean, because they use what carbon dating for when they dig up these pharaohs and bodies.
Yeah, but then you have to be careful with that because sometimes these carbon dates aren't quite exact because you have people that are paid to push certain dates up and to lie about certain things, and that's on the Eurocentric and Afrocentric side.
So how can we trust something that we know for a fact not only is tampered with, is used against, is used in a religious cult fashion, and then on top of that, it's not accurate because it's carbon can easily be manipulated. Whether you just doing it the way they do charcoal, like the way you make charcoal, you carbonize it, and it can give a really false interpretation on what the age is just from carbonization. So, but even if we were to say it is accurate, we pull up a tomb, somebody could wrap that tomb up. It could be just 5 years old. They can carbonize it, wrap it, and we wouldn't know the difference. Like it's not like we can fingerprint a skeleton. So it's not really accurate to say that they digging up these mummies that predates the Bible.
Everything you just explained about the Bible. Who wrote the Bible?
There's many different authors. So these were regular men, in a sense. Many different authors.
How many Bibles are there?
Well, the word Bible means is collection of books. So you got different.
Biblios, yes, small little
Yeah.
books.
Mm-hmm. So you got different iterations, different translations, different. There's many of them. I don't know how many exact it is because people are constantly making their own version.
There are over like 200 different versions.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. And it's constantly people making their own commentary ones, and
that's a contradiction in itself.
Yeah, because how do you get better than God's word? Why do you have to recreate the word of God if it is and it's supposed to be the true word of God? Why do you have to keep reiterating it and keep revising it?
Well, it's simple. Some people don't want to cult, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons,
the Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, listen, the Catholics, the Hebrew Israelites. So people want to make their own. So the devil will always take the truth, because in order for you to get a cult, you need to take the actual truth and then pervert it.
The word cult is the root base word for culture and cultivate. It's simply the way people do things.
Right. So to make a bad culture, you have to take it from a good culture. That's how you grow a following. And then you just play on people's whether it's their emotion, their weakness, whatever it is. So, when I'm talking about cult, I'm talking about, the demonic version of it. So if I'm building a house and I want to build it the proper way, and then somebody else who was working for me, he wants to just get rich, he's going to take shortcuts and do things that people are unaware of, but he's taking the foundation of what's true and perverting it for his own gain.
That sounds like Constantine, because whenever his stepfather stepped out of power because he was doing the sun worship and the sun disk from the ancient Kemites and getting breathed on the ancient science from the Ethiopians, teaching them Coptic Christianity, which simply means later day Christianity. After Constantine's stepfather and his mother finally gave up their power and whatnot, Constantine saw it as a chance to pervert it and twist it around and use it for his political strategy. And they've been doing it ever since then. So it's not so much as what you believe. It's all about your morals and ethics. If you don't believe that killing is not wrong, you don't lack religion. You simply lack morals and empathies. So as long as you know to live right, and that will create you good karma, and that what you do bad out to the universe, that you'll get it back. That should be your morals and ethics right there. Everybody should have a code to adhere to. Because you don't have a code or some types of morals and ethics, then there's nothing that governs you. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people think that they need a religion to have morals and ethics, which is okay, and I respect that. Just as long as that individual knows that they are their own savior, and in the end, it's gonna be them that has to save themselves.
That's all right. So let's see if that's true. So, in true Christianity, the only way you can get morals is it has to be given to you. In order for there to be something wrong, something has to be morally, objectively right. You can't self-define that because that would just make it an opinion. I can't, because then I could just justify. I can make up my own rules, my own set of rules, what applies to me in my own life.
That's all the Bible really is, our opinions.
No, that's not true. You have the Bible. You got God's laws, and then you got man's laws. There is a distinction in the Bible on what came from God and what came from man.
May I please ask you a question? And a humble question, brother. Just a simple humble question. Where do the Psalms come from? Where did the Psalms originally come from?
The Psalms? King Solomon?
No, the Psalms are derived from the Book of the Dead, which is the coming forth by day, the papyrus of Anu. The Psalms are derived from the ancient Kemetic or Egyptian text. So basically, the Psalms themselves are witchcraft, which is the reason why that sorcerers and people who practice witchcraft and magic have occult books called The Power of the Psalms. This helps you to do hoodoo or to cast spells for love, protection, and things of that nature. So you have to understand there's a bastardized version of a thing and a source of where that offspring comes from. But the problem is you keep saying believe. You haven't told me what you know. See, this right here, this bubble right here, this represents the total sum of the knowledge of everything that I think that I know about what I think I know about what I think that I know. Anything outside this bubble represents the unknown, what I have yet to learn. So that's simply saying that we're all in the process of learning. In no matter what stage in life, we're all in the process of learning, and we will never know all.
So
some people have studied a little deeper. Some people just like to, just scrape the rabbit hole. Some people go a little bit deeper into the rabbit hole.
So how do you figure out which book is written by who? Because you said, the Psalms is written by the Book of the Dead. Who wrote the Book of the Dead?
No, it's derived from the Book of the Dead.
It's derived from and who wrote those books?
The ancient Kemites. It's on the wall. It's proven. This is fact.
So you look at the what was written on the wall. How do you know which was written first?
By the scholars who can reinterpret the Medu Neter or the hieroglyphs.
I mean, because they don't have it before. They don't have a date on there. It's not like they're dating it. They're assuming based off of
It's so old you can't even date half this stuff.
What's that?
Some of this stuff is so old you can't even date it. They can't even date King Narmer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there has to be some type of defined origin of the original man before we started growing out.
Does it really?
So how did man get here?
Man,
were we always existing, or was there an original start?
Man just always has been, man.
It always will be.
So you saying just civilization been happening forever? It's infinite?
It's infinite.
Bro, nobody knows the beginning, nobody knows the end.
Trying to figure it out, it makes you crazy.
But so you can't say it's infinite.
Who the first original man was, I would be ludicrous and crazy out of my mind. No one knows the beginning, no one knows the end. Only thing I can simply say is that the universe, in my opinion, has always been and always will be. It will always self-procreate.
Let him go.
All right, so So you're unsure, is what you're saying. You're
Most
unsure.
definitely. I can't tell you when this started. I'll be crazy to tell you that we started as green olive drab people, and the first person was Lucy, and this. And,
evolution.
I'll be crazy to tell you that shit. Come on,
So
man.
what
Let's be honest.
happened? So when we die, what happens?
You never die.
You just come back.
The problem is you simply transcend from this third dimensional plane out of this false avatar, and you go back to the source. Once you come down from the source, after you reviewed your life, you get to choose your reincarnation. You get to choose your family. You get to choose everything that you want to do. Like you sign a soul contract every time you come into an incarnation.
So let me ask you a question.
It's like a prison.
So the people that live here now, they already lived before and they chose the family they was at?
What? Most definitely.
Well, I'm asking because you
Most
got some
definitely.
people. You got people that are
Even
born
Europeans, even though they're like the youngest race, but yeah, even Europeans.
He trying to say
you got people that were born in the back families and stuff like that, where some are born
in the slums and stuff like that.
Not just the slums. You got some that are born, in the pedophile rings and families like that. So
and the contract is to get
they chose that. They chose it. What you saying?
What you have to understand is it may not necessarily be that they chose it, but it may be a life lesson that they have to confront because they didn't because they didn't complete their life lesson in the past life. So they're bound to repeat it and come back and do it again.
Why wouldn't the source fix it? That doesn't make sense. Like, what would be the? Let me ask you this: what would be the point of me living morally if I'm never gonna? There's no judgment. What would be the point?
You gotta learn.
What you have to understand is energy simply is. Everything is a negative and a positive. It all comes from the same source. It's just a different output.
So you saying the source is good and evil?
Yes.
Of course. It's everything intertwined.
That's the Bible.
No, wait, no, that's not the Bible.
It's good and evil.
No, the Bible, the source is not good and evil. That's what I'm saying. The source is not good and evil.
Did you hear what
look, hold on, wait. I'll give you that. It's not good and evil. It's positive and negative.
Positive and negative. There you go.
No, but we're talking about morals and immoral, and to be reincarnated, whether it's a life lesson or you chose it. What I'm saying is, there's never how could there possibly be a judgment to my action if ultimately I'm gonna come back and live again anyway? Like, why would I not be selfish? Why would I sit here and try to take care of my family and make sure my family is doing pretty good and healthy when I could be worrying about my damn self? Like, what would be the point? I can sleep with whoever I want. What would be the point if when I die, I'm gonna come back anyway?
So what do you think? What do you think happens when you die?
According to Christianity.
No. According to you.
Well, no, I believe everything I believe is based off of Christianity. So we die, and if you believe that Jesus Christ is the savior of the world and resurrected on the third day, then that Jesus said he prepared a place for us in heaven, in which that's when we die, we go to heaven.
My brother,
and we're waiting for his actual return.
You're 100% right, my brother. But the thing is,
the difference in that compared to something else is the people that are non-believers, they're in hell and they're waiting to get the second death. They get destroyed. They don't live forever, according to Christianity.
Okay, you just told a little bit of truth, and this goes back to my point on ominism, that all religions have a little bit of truth in them, mixed in with a little bit of the allegory. Yes, the sun does die down for 3 days, but not the SON of God, the SUN of God. It's a major astrological event to where the sun dies down and gets at its lowest point. So that's where the moon passes up the sun in the cycle, which goes back to the story of the tortoise and the hare. You see what I'm saying? Everything is connected. Follow me now, stay with me. So when the sun rises again, then we come into the spring equinox, which is the rebirth of nature. The SUN of God rises every day, and its reflection walks upon water. But the problem is we keep metamorphosizing it to an entity or a humanoid or some type of celestial being. So once again, you have it somewhat right, but it's not the SON of God, it's the SUN of God. All these religions are taken from spiritual systems because everything was done under the study of the sun and the moon. So some of your first almanacs would be your farmer's almanac, because farmers, they do all of their planting under the moon. That's how they know how to get their harvest, because they study astrology. So religion on another level or another train of thought or perspective or bird's eye point of view can be seen from an astrological point of view. See what I'm saying? And you also made another great point. You said Jesus the Christ, right? And you're right about that, because the Christ is not a name, it's a title. It simply means the anointed one. When you vibrate on your highest level and work towards your highest purpose, you are the Christ. And when we all come together and make collective consciousness and vibrate on our highest level, we are tapping into Christ-like consciousness.
He was asking about heaven or hell.
That's a concept. Truthfully, in spirituality, heaven and hell is basically a state of mind, not so much as a physical place.
So,
see what I'm saying?
So well, my point is, if what you're saying is true, let's just say, you know, this conversation, what you're saying is true, what I'm saying is completely false. What, like, there's no benefit to me trying to live as a married man and trying to take care of people. No, it's not. I can live a way more prosperous life not being honest.
No. But that's not. But see, bro.
No, I'm telling you, that's a fact.
To the universe, you get back. You see what I'm saying? That's falsehood. You don't want to do that. You want to be honest in everything that you do.
How? The honest always get the short end of the stick.
That's karma. That karma's gonna hit you.
How? How could it possibly? The honest people pay more taxes. The honest people don't make it as far in life. The rich, all of the wealthy people are not honest.
That comes from a lack of knowledge, brother. They wealthy because they have a certain knowledge that poor-minded people don't have.
And they take advantage of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's capitalism, brother. I mean, that ain't...
regardless of what we call it, what I'm saying is that system is dishonesty. They take full advantage of people.
That's the system that worked, though. Because if you want to go to you want to be in a communist country?
No, what I'm saying is they're not getting karma. They're benefiting off of not living an honest life. Listen,
you don't know if they're living an honest life or not, brother.
I'm
just taking advantage of the system.
I'm talking about the rich people that I know. I know plenty of wealthy people.
Okay.
I give you crypto, for example. There's a guy that was going around making these pump and dump tokens, and then the course of a couple months last summer, he made $500,000 ripping off all these people. And then he took that money and kept flipping it up by making more pump and dumps and pump and dumps. And then they got a team of people who had money because he had money. He entered in the club. And now they go around pumping and dumping tokens and taking advantage and stealing people money.
They still doing it right now.
Yeah.
Everything that goes up must come down. Trust me.
Yeah, right. But the people that's going to...
It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle.
This is what I'm saying. You take an example of that. Like there's plenty of examples I can give you where people get the short end of the stick and they end up just dying off dirt poor. And the rich, you know, he died rich. He died living comfortable.
That's true.
Yeah, it's some dirt poor people that's terrible people. And there's some rich people that's good people. You can't just say because they rich. You just can't say because they poor that they good.
No, what I'm asking is,
you don't have to judge everybody. Everybody gonna have to go to the laws of Magick or to heaven, and they're gonna have to be judged for the life that they live, or they're a good person or not.
My question is, I'm not saying whether
individual.
I'm not saying rich is good or evil. What I'm saying is, if I was to go that route, what punishment is there for me if I'm living wrong? What's the punishment if I'm going to live again anyway?
Mentally, you're gonna be in hell, my brother.
No, I ain't.
If you know you living wrong, you will be in hell, my brother.
I wouldn't care. What's the consequences? I only care about not speeding because there's a cop going to give me a ticket and I can lose my license. There's consequences.
Speeding ain't a big deal.
No, we're talking. If I was to go out and start shooting people I don't like, I know there's consequences to my actions.
You will go to jail.
But see, that's not a logical thought.
You will go to jail, and you have to sit in jail and think about what the hell you did.
That's if I get caught.
For life. Ethics, knowing the consequences would forbid us from doing something that insane.
No, look. You got people that go on massive killing sprees, right?
But I understand what you're saying.
If you got people that go on massive killing sprees and then they kill themselves. What's the consequence to their action?
That's a dishonorable act. Take out all the people.
It's what's the consequence to that person's action? If he kill a bunch of people, innocent people, women, children, and then he kill himself in the end, right after he finished taking all these people out, what's the consequence? He get to live again.
Trust me, he's gonna suffer.
What's the consequence?
Who's okay? This is the thing. Who said living again is a good thing?
Some people don't want to come back to this.
But that's not the question. The question is,
no, that is the question though. Because you acting like you said, if this is this, then this is bad.
maybe
maybe coming back is the punishment.
Look, if I know I'm out on, let's say I blew all my money, party, and did all this stuff, and I'm at the end, like I'm gonna have to work hard or suffer because I done blew all my money, and I just start shooting a bunch of people. I say, you know what? I want to restart my life, so I shoot a bunch of people just because it's fun, and then kill myself. Like if you look at some people really got depraved mind. They think what's bad is good.
I think
it's all about them.
I think most people are born good, brother, and then they just get indoctrinated with hate.
I mean, that's an opinion, but what I'm saying.
So for a person to get to that point where they shoot up a gang of people, which I think most of that should be staged. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
No, I mean, like you got the Grand Theft Auto game. Like some people like it. It's fun.
You're right. You're right. The Grand Theft Auto game.
There's plenty of fun in doing shit that's wrong. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm married. Had my children after I got married. Right.
Yes, sir.
That's not fun. That's not fun doing it that way when I could just sleep with a bunch of different women. I could easily just keep upgrading my wife.
But there's consequences in this world if you sleep with a bunch of women. And you know the consequences. You've been taught. Your uncle's taught.
There's only consequences if you listen. I'm telling you, I can go right to the Philippines. I can go to Thailand and take my money that I got now and live a crazy good life and just take advantage of the poor people. I know people that do that. They brag about it.
Okay.
And then they come right back over here. Like when you have money, I'm not saying money is evil. What I'm saying is when you have the resources, you could take advantage. I'm saying there's no ultimate downfall to that if I get to live again.
Money is just a tool. It's what you choose to do with that tool.
Yeah, but there is no. I'm saying in your world, there's no absolute good or evil. It's just an opinion. There's no consequences.
It ain't an opinion. It's lessons. It's lessons that need to be learned.
Yeah, the lesson would be. All right,
that falls under your morals and ethics. How far are you willing to go?
There is no morals.
Point.
It's just an opinion. There is no morals.
Because there's no morals. It's thou shalt not kill.
No, that's a law from what you're saying is incorrect. That's a law.
No, in the laws of Mayat.
And the laws of Mayat says that. The
Who's
10
Mayat?
Commandments are extracted from the 42 laws of Mayat.
All right, who's Mayat?
You know it say what does it say?
In the what?
In the laws of Mayat. What does it say? It doesn't say thou shalt not kill, it says something else though. But it's the same thing.
It's the same
regardless, who's going to judge me for that?
I have not.
Like ultimately, who's going to judge me for that? Like
the creator.
Let me give you an example. I killed somebody, nobody knows. Everything's covered up. I set him up so he could drown. I purposely did that. Who's going to know?
You got a lot of scenarios in your mind, man.
Hey, my name is Mr. Info Philly, man. I come from a place where I'm not there now, but I come from a place where I've seen actual clever evil. I've seen it. I've seen people get set up. And I'm talking about from both sides, from the police, from all types of things.
Right.
I know a cop that came up, got into a fight. He lost.
North Philly, South Philly.
North Philly.
Oh, yeah.
North Philly. 23rd and Diamond, if somebody want to check it out. I'm from those projects that they blew up.
It goes down.
There was a cop that beat up he tried to beat up a guy. He lost the fight. He came back he shot the guy right there. He shot the guy, killed him.
Damn.
He went home, put his uniform on, went to work, got his listen. He went to work, got his crew, came back, and then arrested the suspect.
Got his crew?
The police.
Man,
put the uniform
the biggest
on.
gang in the world.
Yeah, but my point is he got away with it. There's plenty of police, and I'm not even talking about a black or white thing, just the fact that somebody is in position to get away with it. So that's why you hear me bringing up scenarios. I know people that do this.
Right.
Like I don't know them personally, but like this is normal stuff that happens in these areas. But what I'm saying is, what's the ultimate consequence? Who's the law? Where's the law at?
Okay, so your law is
man law.
You do something wrong, you go to hell.
Right.
No, my law. What I'm saying in Christianity, there's an actual God that gives the law. So ultimately, regardless of how you live,
and this is what I'm getting at. From our perspective, those are man-made laws right there. But as the universal conscience and the universal laws, you can't escape universal laws. It's the same concept in Christianity. You can't escape. You can't escape God. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the universe is what the universe is something that is one thing, but you said the source. Who is the source? How can we
The
know who the source is?
The source is the divine. It's the all. It's the unknown. It's the what we can't fathom. The
So
beyond
you said
us.
so all these people that went back to the source, they didn't come back and tell us who it is. They met him, or it, or whatever it is.
There
All
you
these
go.
people go and met the source.
Now you're catching it.
No, but what I'm saying is all these people met the source, and not one of them can actually explain what the source is. The source is leaving us with confusion.
Hey, but they all say the same thing. They all say it was light.
We all come from the source.
They all say it was light. Even people had a near-death experience. They said, "Yeah, I went to go see God, and it said go into the light."
I can't credit or discredit. The big difference is Jesus. This person that actually walked, that was named Jesus. You know, that wasn't his name, and we speak in English. But the Jesus,
yes, it was.
There were people that
can you use the why?
Yeah, sure. I mean, but I like to say it in English because I speak English.
Because there was no J, so when you're saying Jesus, now we got like a discrepancy here.
Yeah, I'm saying it this way because Yeshua was translated into Latin first, and then like that's how it derived into Jesus. It's a transliteration, but we're talking about the same person. Like, it's Yeshua.
Hey, so if I was walking in North Philly, and I see you walking down the street, and I'm trying to get your attention, and I'm saying the wrong name, would you pay me any attention?
If you're saying a different name, I wouldn't pay any mind. But if you were saying like a certain name that you translate from one language to the other language and it's not pronounced the same, like it's the closest you can get to it.
But the problem is the word Jesus can be a valid name because there was no J over 600 years ago.
Jesus.
So what you have to understand is now we're talking about a misnomer here. There was no J, so there's no way possible his name could have been Jesus. So that's why I asked you if you can go back to the Latin. Say with the Y.
No, hey, listen, I said Yeshua. I say Yeshua. But as I said, I try to say it. I try to say it this way because there's a lot of Christians that are really like babies in Christianity, like and in language. So they don't even understand. They don't even know the name Yeshua. You say Yeshua, you say what religion? They'll say what's that? Because they don't really understand the difference. Like the same way, and like the Hebrews and in Arabic and stuff like that. They have a feminine and masculine version of a name. Whereas English don't have that. So it's not so everything can't be translated exactly the same. Where we would say, no, that's female clothes. With theirs, they just have a feminine version of the name. So everything is not direct when you're translating from one language to the next because they don't always have the same grammar rules.
So if everything ain't correct when you translate it, do you got a King James version of the Bible?
Yeah.
I mean, would you call it a Holy Bible? You just said everything that get translated. King James translated the Bible
several times.
So it can't be a Holy Bible because you just said stuff get lost in the translation.
Yeah, but we still have the actual manuscripts. So if people want to deep dive and see if there's something, how exactly it was written originally, like there's no way to misinterpret "Thou shalt not murder."
Do you believe in vibration?
Misinterpret that, right?
Right. Okay. That.
No. So
one example. But
we're talking about God's laws. There's no way you can misinterpret God's laws, regardless of what language.
You're right. You're right about that. Regardless of what religion. Regardless of if it's spiritual or if it's not spiritual, you can't misinterpret God's laws.
Exactly.
It's the golden rule: do unto others that you will have done unto you.
I mean, that's
right. But if I were to tell somebody I got a gunmetal gray, pickup truck, or a turquoise, that turquoise might not exactly be directed in a different language. They might say, "Well, what the heck is that?" And somebody say, "I want like a dark blue or a bluish green." But in our English, because we got like 2-3 million colors, we know what turquoise is. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's certain things that ain't going to translate directly.
Okay. Hey, you asked me about something about Jesus and all eyes will see, and the physical Jesus and basically the esoteric Jesus.
Yeah. So if I guess you understand that the Bible's not true at all, and Jesus never was a physical person. But
I said the Bible, it's got some truth in it.
You got truth in it,
and it's mostly esoteric.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're saying essentially though the book itself is not to be taken literal.
Yeah, I'm saying that snakes don't talk,
Right.
and so I'm saying not to just trash the Bible. I'm saying that's a metaphor.
It's a
It mean,
metaphor.
so you know what I'm saying. I ain't like
No, like
everybody else.
if the Bible's corrupted, I would throw the thing. I would throw it in the trash. Like if God's word, like if this is not God's word, is not to be trusted, I toss it in the trash.
Don't throw it in the trash. Don't throw it in the trash because that's what a lot of us who got into consciousness first did. But then I had to realize it's a Masonic book. It's a book that has witchcraft in it. It has astrology. It has astronomy. It's a mystery book.
There's a lot of game in the Bible.
It's a lot of game
why
in the
you
Bible.
think? Why you think pimps? That's their main go-to. They quote the Bible.
Right.
Bible.
So the Bible has historical narratives in there also. So God's words is not the same as like the historical events. Like King David, he took another man's wife. He took another man's wife's. No, he sent the guy to war and then took the other man's wife. He tried to get the guy killed in war just so he could take his wife. The guy didn't die, but he took his wife anyway and got her pregnant. That's not God condoning that. That's the Bible recording what actually happened. So there's plenty of astrology in there. There's pagan worship in there, but that's not instructions from God. That's the historical event of what happened. This is what these people was doing.
But this is the problem, brother. We're not talking about historical people. See, back in the day when I used to first start debating, I thought it was about proving my point and being right and showing where the fallibilities are. But then I had to realize sometimes you just got to go on the literal level and just go over the stories and just try to make sense of it. Because when you put logical thought to it, you know that if a person got swallowed by a big fish, what type of fish? You know, specify this fish. Was it a whale? Because the whale don't swallow nobody whole like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they would have to break you down and spit you out. Like you will be hit after a while. Like there's no living beast. Yeah. You know, no big fish. That's So when you put thought to that,
hold on. Let's go with that. Let's talk about that one. So according to Jesus, that's a miraculous event. That was never a natural event. That was considered a miraculous event. So if God is the creator of all things, the sustainer of all things, and can do things beyond man's logic, that's God that sustained him in the world. That's not like something that can naturally happen. That's the difference. We're not talking about like something that's like the Quran says stuff that is just ridiculous. I mean, that you could prove.
Bro, you can't talk about the Quran like that because the Quran is a derivative of the Bible.
No, it ain't.
In order for the Quran
it's not even close. It's not even close.
In order for Islam to even be a religion, they had to accept the major prophets of Christianity. So even though they got their little spin-off and they got their little stories that they
redefine every prophet of the Bible
that you might consider a little bit off and twisted, they still got your main characters.
They redefine. Listen, I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna just give you an example of one. Bro,
hey, Mr. Philly, be careful. Don't talk about the Muslims because they be sending death threats. Hey, Nation of Islam will send you a death threat quick. Be careful.
Right. Hey, listen, I've been talking. I've been talking all this way everywhere. Like this ain't. I've been getting death threats all my life. That I don't fear death.
Okay. Hey, we in there then. We in there. See that? I like that because you're willing to die for something. If not willing to die for something, you have nothing to live for. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I made sure I set my camera and stuff. I normally don't like show my face on something, but you guys was on here publicly, and the fact that I asked to be on your platform, I'm not gonna hide behind the camera. You know,
that's not disrespectful because we had done the last time. It's okay.
Yeah. So, but no, the Quran, the Quran describes, things totally different.
Right.
The one example would be it describes God as having no spirit and no son, no begotten. That's completely different than than the Bible's description of God having a spirit and God. We're talking about the Old Testament, and God prophesied that He was going to send a Messiah who was supposed to be the Son of God. So that's a completely description. You can't describe the same person who says he has no spirit, and then you go to the Bible and it says that God has a spirit. So those are two completely different descriptions.
Right. Most definitely. But what I'm saying is they took some of your major prophets. So like they changed around Abraham and made him Ibrahim. You know what I'm saying? So
and he even made
Satan. They made him into like what? Satine or something like that. So
Shaitan.
The
example and then when you look at the Prophet Muhammad, if we were to try to say the Prophet Muhammad was the sent prophet, the Bible, all throughout the Bible, God hates divorce. All throughout the Bible. in the Quran, you're allowed to have multiple wives, up to 4 wives, and then on top of that, you even allowed to have sex with. Now, I'm gonna make sure I put all these scriptures, the Quran scriptures, in this video. It even says that a man who, if he was allowed to have sex with his captive wives. So if I went to war with Muhammad, like I'm on his side, I went to war, and we got spoils of war, and I got women who are still married to. So you got the woman slave and the man slave, but they're married. Because they're my captives, I'm allowed to have sex with her, even though she's married to the other guy. That's in the Quran. No, God is like, so the God of the Quran is the completely different nature of the God of the Bible, who doesn't allow you to do that.
What you have to understand is that each political party or each religious group, because Judaism, Christianity, and Islamism are the big 3 Abrahamic religions, they still have their own set and rules of politics. So, you have to understand is in Christianity, they have the Holy Trinity, but instead of the Father, Son, and the Mother, it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, or the Holy Spirit,
But it's all about division at the end of the
day. At the end of the day, it's all about division and putting people against each other.
Yeah.
See, we've come to a realization that we don't care about your religion, your spirituality. Let's just go back to the original religion, and that's unity.
But that's still, but you still have to divide. Regardless, there's no way you can't unite everybody, because everybody can't be good. Yeah, somebody has to be spreading falsehoods, and somebody has to be spreading facts. So we have to divide. You cannot, to be united with everything is evil, because you're accepting evil. You have to have a division and have to stand on something. You have to have a foundation you stand on if it's going to be truth. So if you say, we like to stand on facts and truth, you're dividing yourself from all falsehoods. That itself is divisive.
What is going to make your Jesus come back?
Jesus will come back when the fullness of the Gentiles happen, when all the people are saved, and during the Antichrist running his kingdom. So when we actually see Antichrist is set up, and Christianity is basically outlawed, like this won't be like no.
So everything will be bad for your Jesus to come back. Everything got to be bad. Everything got to be terrible.
I mean, that's one way to put it. This would be the worst time period in history.
It got to be just straight chaos.
Yeah, it will be chaos. But the Jews are actually be getting saved. I mean, at that point, there would be no excuse for people. There would be absolutely no excuse for people. People say they want to live their own life, and then when God gives them that, they say, "Oh, it's chaos." But that's what chaos is: living your life apart from God.
Hey, what's your favorite movie?
It's called One Night with the King. That's one of my favorite movies. That's it's a movie about Esther.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be something else.
No, I mean, like another one, a regular movie would be Inception.
Okay.
And then I like The Matrix. Like the Matrix trilogies is interesting also.
Okay. Neo, is that the story of Jesus Christ?
It's a funny way of the way they did that first movie. It's like a pagan version of it. It's
I like how you say pagan too. You kind of took a little jab at it. It's a pagan version.
No, yeah. I mean, I like it. I like the movie because it helps it helps make it easier to explain to people like some of the stuff that's going on in the world, on how they trap mentally in the system. Like people that be following and worshiping these celebrities who be doing these pagan rituals, but they're unaware of it. Like a lot of these celebrities are into some
false idols. Yeah, these false idols.
Yeah, they into Masonic things that are sacrificing people.
Yeah. A lot of people are getting sacrificed once you sign that deal and sign that contract with their gods.
But are they getting sacrificed, or is it just staged? Like,
yeah,
I believe the church, the Jesuits, the Catholic Church is behind a lot of this shit.
Yeah, but see, it's multiple figures. Like it ain't
Templars too.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people blame the Catholics, which is a part of it. But you have
because they run our religion.
But
I don't know. But see, I don't know if they run all of it, because you got certain groups, like you got several players that are all doing the same thing, but they're like not intertwined. Like they're not directly communicating with each other. They own the same demonic type stuff, evil stuff, but they're not working hand in hand. You got this group over here sacrificing people, and thinking they're holy, and this group sacrificing people. But they on the same page, but I'm saying like they're not knowingly working together.
And Mr. Philly, one of our sisters, one of our queens on the channel just gave me like the esoteric and the deeper metaphysical meaning of where the word Esther comes from. It's a representation of the goddess Ishtar, which is the Babylonian goddess of fertility, sex, and love, which can be another aspect in the Kemetic or the Egyptian Isis.
Yeah, that wasn't her actual name.
Aset. So once you understand that, the Easter itself comes from pagan times when the Europeans, would take their women and paint them and would hide them in the forest in the woods, and then would find them and have sex with them. So now they got in these churches,
the whole pagan
got
thing.
These kids going to go find these painted eggs and don't even know the reality and the gist of it, because the rabbit represents the fertility because they produce rapidly, and then the chocolates are an aphrodisiac. So you understand the deeper science. They ain't necessarily in the church.
I definitely understand that.
It's eggs and candy. You know what I mean?
No, it's definitely pagan. That's a pagan thing that they introduced. That's part of what the Catholics did to try to make the pagan stuff. Yeah, so the pagan stuff. But Esther's not her real name. Like that wasn't. She was so she wasn't outed as a Jew. They gave her a pagan name, so they wouldn't see her as a Jew. Like that's her real name was Hadassah. It's not Esther.
Do you understand that there were books taken out of the Bible?
Yeah,
called the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
Why do you think those books were taken out of the Bible?
There's plenty of contradictions in the Apocrypha. So if you look at, it's just like I said with Israel. It's just like
in the Bible.
No, it's just like I said with the Bible. Like the Islamic people, they like to say that the Quran came after Christianity. It's the same God. But if there's a completely if you were to say let's say I don't know you, but if a person described himself as having no children his entire life, until the end of his life, and then another person said, I'm talking about the same person, he had 2 kids. Only one of those statements can be true. You can't have it both ways. The Quran directly contradicts.
Well, so the Bible did the same thing, because I proved that in my last debate, which this is really not a debate. This is more of a discussion and trying to get a positive build. But in my last debate with King Wise, shout out to King Wise, I showed him in the Bible where it said that Abraham only had 1 son, and that was of his wife. But then I showed him in another verse or another scripture that he had 2 wives. He had another child on the side with the wife out of wedlock. So I showed that it was a contradiction. And then it even goes further to say that these things are an allegory, which means it never really happened.
Wait,
so once you understand this, you understand the Bible is not the true word of God. It's written by man.
So what you said, he was promised to have he was promised to have a child through his wife in which all nations will be blessed. So Sarah at the time didn't believe it, so she gave Abraham the handmaiden. That wasn't the promise that God gave him. God said he was going to have a miraculous child through his wife. So that child and Ishmael was put away, which, by the way, that's who the Quran say. The Muslims say that Muhammad comes through him. The beauty of that is the promise wasn't about Abraham and the handmaiden. The promise was about Abraham and his wife. Yeah. So he actually had a child afterwards with Sarah, the original promise. But he never married the handmaiden. That was never his wife.
No, you're right.
Bro, but like when you understand, but see, that's the thing though. This is the problem. When you're stuck on the literal level, you really overthink these stories and think that these are real historical facts and dated situations based on historical events. They're all moralistic stories. They're metaphors.
So how do we determine what's historical?
Bro, give me any author in the Bible, like real historical author in the Bible that they can really find to this day, like that they really have a sarcophagus of or some type of. You can't find none of these guys.
I can't find no evidence on my dad's great grandpa. It don't mean he didn't exist. I can't find no evidence.
Yes, you can. Historical documentations. I'll take you back to the plantation that it came from. You might not be able to get him
those people was not documented.
None of his slave owner's name, but you can date it back.
A lot of them were not documented at all. A lot of them slaves was not documented. They had a kid and were killed off.
There is a lot of word of mouth, though. There is a lot of word of mouth.
Right.
Now listen, word of mouth passed down through your family.
So how is it? So how is it we can accept word of mouth for that, but you saying you can't accept word of mouth that these people who said they saw Jesus with his own eyes resurrected, and then it was killed for it? We're not
The
talking about.
reason why I can attest for that, because those people that predated you are your ancestors. They really lived.
So
You're
the
talking about
people
the-
before them were their ancestors.
But see, now when you say this Jesus guy, now you're talking about a made up character.
So
I can't really judge it by an historical situation because there is no documentation of a man named Jesus the Christ ever walking this earth. It's okay to believe in Jesus or believe in Allah or Buddha or whatever you identify with.
So
Josephus,
Josephus,
in that you are the microcosm of the macrocosm. You are a piece of God.
all right. So the Roman historians who recorded this figure that these Christians and these Jews that killed this Messiah, this person who claimed to be the Messiah. This is not a Christian historian. Like these historians who claim that there was a guy who was killed, and there were people who saying that he resurrected from the dead. Like that's what their claims was, and they was murdered for it, for saying that that's what he was doing. Or I mean, that's what happened. You don't believe that historical documents? You don't believe none of the historical?
Which historians? Which
Run
Romans?
Can you pull it up?
Yeah, like show us the historians. Pull them up.
Josephus is one of them.
From what historical period? Are we talking AD? Are we talking before Common Era? What historical time period are we talking of? Like, give me a date in the Bible, because there are no dates in the Bible, and usually historical books have dates. There are no dates in the Bible
because the Bible goes from the original. According to the Bible, we're talking about the Bible. The Bible goes from the original creation of man, so you just count from there.
Oh, so we're talking about Adam.
Yeah.
Or
so you can count. So you can count forward from there. Like it gives a genealogy in the timeline, and we would be about.
No, it doesn't. It just says in the beginning. It doesn't say in the beginning of BCE period time of 325 AD.
No, because
it doesn't give us no historical time period, brother.
It does. If Adam was created on the 6th day of the earth, it gives a timeline of how long he lived, his age, all the way up to Jesus. It gives an actual timeline. You just add it up.
My brother.
You said a timeline.
This is where we start doing the religious and spiritual comparative studies.
Let me get that one.
No, wait. You said I'm not saying whether we're not talking about what's accurate. You said the Bible doesn't give a timeline. I said the Bible gives a genealogy, an actual genealogy from Adam to Jesus. So
okay,
if the Bible.
So then the Bible, the Old Testament, is so heavily based on Adam, and then why is he not mentioned in the New Testament? Because Adam is not mentioned not one time in the New Testament. So that's to say that. So that's to say that Jesus does not make mention no Adam or put any importance on Adam in the New Testament.
Why would Jesus put emphasis on somebody beneath him?
You're missing the point. You're missing the point. What I'm trying to say is that the Old Testament and the
bold statement, brother.
What I'm trying to say is the Old Testament and the New Testament are two different compilations.
The New Testament makes mention of Adam, but not Jesus himself. Jesus' purpose wasn't to come to talk about somebody beneath him.
The New Testament has nothing to do with the Old Testament.
Yes, it does. So, give me an example.
The New Testament is totally written at a different time.
Give me an example of how it's not related to the Old Testament. Give me an example.
It just did say Jesus ain't mentioned Adam.
But why does Jesus need to mention Adam is the question.
Because Adam was the start of he was the start of all of it.
Now, brother, this is where the literal starts getting you confused.
If you think about it, if you think about it, that's God's first son was Adam.
He wasn't a son, he was a creation.
Okay, all right.
What you have to understand is when you start doing
would the animals be created God's son? Would the animals be considered God's son as well?
Matt, please finish.
But you have to. But I would say that most people are daughters and sons of God.
Brother, once you start making the connections, the esoteric and metaphysical connections, you understand that in the Egyptian text, the first man created by himself is a tomb. A tomb and Adam are one and the same. When you go into science, you understand that an atom are 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. That is the carbon-based makeup of man.
Right, but you said that there's no dates given in the Bible. That's what we was talking about, and I was
There are
showing.
no dates, but if you
Wait,
want to
hold
go
on.
into,
What?
but if you want to go into dates and you want to go into scholarship, everything starts at like 4 BC.
No, but what you said, if I can finish, you said there's no dates in the Bible, and I said that the Bible gives an actual timeline of the genealogy of Adam directly to Jesus.
Okay, what's the date?
You would just have to count the years up. So Adam will be in the first year, right?
Right.
According
Like I
to the
made-
Bible, according to the Bible.
Let him go. Let him go.
Never mind. Let him speak. Put that
Well,
up there.
yeah, we're not like that's the Bible's timeline. The Bible would say
Okay.
Adam was born in the first year,
The first year. What year
Right.
we in there?
like so. If you're going by that time, like I don't know the exact because I don't know the exact year of Jesus when he was born. It would be about the year 6600.
Oh, nobody know what year we in now.
No, it's not
Exactly.
exact.
Chinese got the whole total different years. They in like 15,000.
A way different calendar. If you want to go by one of the Mayan calendars, it's probably about 25,000 years ahead of this one. And one of the youngest Egyptian calendars is at least in the year 62,000 something. So, bro, like, what's to say with 2021?
No,
That's
but
what I'm saying, man. We
that
can't
wasn't the
really
point.
predict it,
The
bro.
point wasn't about whether it's accurate or not. You said it doesn't give a date. It gives a date.
Yeah, it gives a date.
The same way those
really
other
thinks
things
you're
you brought up
correct.
gives a date, right?
It gives,
They-
you said
They have their own
day
calendar.
one. You said day one. You said year one or day one?
Yeah. No, Adam was created on the 6th day. That would be the first year.
That'd be
We're
the
talking
first
about-
year.
Yeah, that's the first year according to the Old Testament that the earth would have been created.
And then we just count up till we get to 20,022.
Well, we know they rewrote the date because he got the AD and BC. So
What does
somewhere,
AD stand for?
Who rewrote the date?
the Romans.
What does AD stand for?
And they didn't have no
I
involvement.
would have
with
to
it.
look up the actual definition, not just say after death. There's-
Okay. It
Something-
really stands for it's
I-
really Latin. It stands for Anno Domino, and that's
right.
Latin
That's
for
what
the
I
year
had
of
to
our
look it up.
Lord.
I didn't
And
know
that's
the
Latin for
exact
the year
name.
of our Lord. Do you see what happens when you get on scholarship? You see
What I
me-
said
me-
was
me-
I
me-
didn't
me-
remember the actual name. I know it like it was not English.
But this is very important to understand etymology and the roots of words where they come from, because then you start making the universal connections.
That
To
doesn't,
understand
yeah,
that all these spiritual
The Latins
systems
and the
have some type of
Romans.
connection.
but that
May
doesn't
not be
it
the
doesn't
exact
change it.
same, but have some type of connection.
I'm aware of that.
Problem
Now
is,
notice. Now
the
look.
problem is we keep getting divided by these messianic saviors and these belief systems.
You need a pen?
All right,
And
so
that causes
you saying
friction.
all of the people that claim that Jesus rose from the dead and were eyewitnesses, and they was killed and murdered because they said, "Listen, I know you about to kill me, but I'm telling you, I saw him rise from the dead." So they did it for what? For what purpose? What did they have to gain? They dying. They getting murdered for it. Why would I lie about something that I know is false and lose my life? That doesn't benefit me in no way.
It's an old story, brother. That story is
Yeah,
older
I'm
than,
asking.
it's older than Jesus Christ. That story about rising from the dead, that's an old story, brother.
So
That's taken from the resurrection of Asar or the resurrection of Osiris,
It's-
which
it's the
predates.
it's the story of the
predates-
sun.
Which predates that by
Osiris-
far.
So the Osiris story, can you pull it up and read me the actual description of the Osiris story?
Look it up on the internet, right
I mean,
there.
because it's not similar to Jesus.
And
to,
the book will show up and everything. It says the resurrection of Osiris.
Yeah, because that story is not similar to a person dying on a cross. Everybody know he died.
Brother,
Stayed
this is
away
where
for 3 days.
this is where they extracted some of the story from. This is what you have
So
to
the-
understand is that a lot of these stories are based on astrology. But to dumb it down for us in third dimension and as human beings, we have to tell them in stories and metamorphosize them to entities and beings. Where's the book at? Where's the book? Show them the book.
So all of the people that
book.
believe Jesus
Just add on
died.
book. Just add on book. Just add on book.
No.
Yeah, put the book to it. Yep. So that way he has a reference and a source.
No, I've read the story.
So that way he can know where to look it up and do his extensive research and do his comparative studies. Now put it back on me and him. I always try to give sources of references. Think what I'm saying? Because
I've read
knowledge
the
is
story of
understanding.
Osiris and his resurrection.
Oh yes, and King David spoke on the Atrahasis. The Atrahasis is basically the Babylonian and Mesopotamian text of where the Noah flood comes from. So you have to understand that all of these stories are derivative of some older story. Even with the Adam and Eve story, if you want to go into the Babylonian text, it's the story of Enki and Enlil. So you have to understand that
If there was a great flood that actually happened,
it
if there
never
was a
happened,
great flood,
never happened. Let's go to the literal level. Let's use common sense here. Oh yes, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's talking about Atrahasis is the character, and the Gilgamesh Epic is where the story of the Noah's flood or the Noah's Ark flood story comes from. So in understanding this, you have to understand that all of these stories have a little bit of truth in them, but they have a little bit of fallibility in them to be used for political purposes, to use for fear, to use to divide people and conquer, because that's the strategy: divide and conquer. My God's bigger than your God. Oh, since I don't like your God, I'm turning your God into a devil. That's always been the strategy. One man's God is another man's devil.
right now, what I said was, according to what you're saying is true about us just constantly being reincarnated. There isn't there's absolutely no punishment. It's nothing for it.
No, there is punishment.
What example?
No one can outgovern universal laws, the Hermetic principles.
No, I'm saying, what's the punishment? What's the punishment?
The universe will decide in the end. It's called karma. King David says, steady Assyriology, God himself has been dead for 10,000 years. Allah was slain along with his intelligence to create the human race. And then it also says, study the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch of Dorotheus of Sidon. King David is a scholar. The Pentateuch, when you talk about the Pentateuch, now you're talking on a scholarly level. You talking some scholarly shit. And like, truthfully, if you want to be honest, the Council of Nicaea 325 of 325 AD was one of many different councils in order to get this into to swing when they made a decision on who would be the messianic savior for Christianity for their political movement. You have to understand, man, like all
How
this
is
came
that when we have documents before the Council of Nicaea?
Which are?
What do you mean? The four Gospels.
Four Gospels of what? Are
Matthew,
you talking about the
Mark,
New Testament?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the New Testament?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you know anything about scholarship, you know that the book of John wasn't added into the 4th century, and it's a forgery. See, now you're talking about a bastardization of bastardization. Let me school you a little bit. The Bible before the King James Bible. No, let me talk. The Bible before the King James Bible was the Bishop's Bible. That was King James' mama. Then you got the Geneva Convention Bible. Then you got the Wycliffe Bible.
We're talking about the four Gospels.
Let me finish. And then if you want to go into Noah Drew Ali, he plagiarized all his work from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ. So everybody stole from somewhere. But what I'm trying to tell you is one of the original Bibles is called the Sinaitic Bible or the Sinai Bible. Any Bible after that has about 14,800 differences. So we got to understand is we have to go back to the Ptolemaic era. You see what I'm saying? Like now we're getting into scholarship.
Well, you brought up the Council of Nicaea. We was talking about the Council of Nicaea, and you know, this is before the King James and all of that. So we was talking about around that time period. You're saying none of the Gospels are dated before the Council of Nicaea?
Hell no, brother. Do you not know that in the newer testaments or in the newer versions of the King James Bible, what's his name? The poet dude. He wrote his name in the William Shakespeare wrote most of the Psalms. And at age 46, on his 46th birthday, he decoded his name in the 46th Psalm. You can look it up, bro. This is facts. King James and William Shakespeare were lovers. They were homosexuals. This is what the church is not teaching you. That's why they indoctrinate you with the same verses. Acts 2:38, John 3:16, and the same other bullshit they give you.
First of all, I know King James and Shakespeare were gay. Like, that's not new to me. That doesn't. We're talking about before they even was born. You keep going to King James. I'm talking about way before them. We're talking about the few centuries after Jesus.
Bro, Jesus never existed. That's why we can't keep going over this conversation. He even gave a scholar, Dr. Thorkild Peterson. And he also has put up research Stephanie Daly.
All right, so all the scholars today that are not Christian, like even atheists, all of the scholars that say there was a person.
I disagree with atheism because you had to believe in something. At one point in time, you did believe in something.
All right, so agnostic. All of those scholars, though, who say that they do see that Jesus was a historical figure, they're all wrong.
I don't think it matters if Jesus is a historical figure. Jesus.
No, it does matter. That's the
crux. Bro. What you have to understand is that you have to take it for the moral lesson. Whether Jesus the Christ existed or not to you,
it makes a big difference.
Take it as a moral lesson.
No, but what I'm saying, like, we're not talking about
why is it so important to you.
We're not talking about whether the Bible is true or not. Like the discussion, if Jesus is not a historical figure at all, then any concept around Jesus is ridiculous as far as Christianity belief, because he never even existed. Whether he was the Son of God or not is not. If he didn't even exist, what I believe is absolutely ridiculous. But the fact that there's many written documents, like even if we take the Quran, like all of these books refer to an actual person who was named Jesus, and you're saying he never existed.
Bro, this is why you're getting in your feelings, bro, because you're still.
I'm not in my feelings. We're talking about logic.
Taking too literally, bro. The Bible even says for the literal word kills. Once you understand the deeper meaning, you'll start to be free and start to live. The definition of saved, bro, don't mean being saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, and that if you live a good life, you're gonna go to heaven. Because, bro, if you're scared that you were born a sinner, or believe that you were born a sinner, and if you're scared that if you don't live a good life and you're not saved, that you'll go to hell, and some man with a pitchfork is going to get you, like you can't be saved. The definition of being saved is being mentally free.
That's not in the Bible that there's a man with a pitchfork and all like.
But that's what I believe.
No, it's not. That's not in the Bible anyway,
Set, bro. The comedic god of chaos. And if you really want to know,
that's not in the...
Asar is the one that had an affair with Nephthys, and that's the reason why he got cut up into 14 pieces, because technically Anubis is the son of Nephthys and Asar, and that's how he broke his family up. But see, this is some of the Revenge of the Sith shit, because I know the darker and the lighter aspect. Even in Star Wars, you know what I'm saying? They think that the Revenge of the Sith, that the Revenge of the Sith is some evil shit. No, it's just simply dealing with the dark energy, your primordial self, your true self.
So your true self is dark?
Darth Vader and the Sphinx or Haru and Maquette are one and the same. Look them up. They both have the same aspects. Look at the Sphinx.
I'm asking you. You said your true self is dark. That's what you said?
Yes, that's your lower primordial self. That's your true nature. That's the Phoenix energy.
So
that's the untainable energy.
So what do you mean by dark? What does that mean?
Lower self, that's your root chakra. That is your survival, your will to live, your will to be.
Is dark evil?
Satan, Santa Claus, Saturn, Papa Legba, Set, all of them are depicted as red and black because that represents your lower self or your root chakra. So when Christians rebuke Satan, they're rebuking their lower selves, which is the reason why it's an energy that doesn't work for you. You guys keep thinking of the concept of good and evil. It has nothing to do with good and evil. It has to do with higher self and lower self, negative and positive.
Is there a such thing as good and evil? Is there a such thing as good and evil?
You need your lower self.
No, wait. The question is there a such thing as good and evil?
Mind control is evil because the thing is, when you can program a person to believe that somebody can't do something in a negative aspect to come for an outcome or for a positive outcome, the same way someone can have positive intentions and have a negative outcome, then they don't really understand the deeper meaning. They're still stuck on the lower aspect of, well, this happened is good, this happened is evil, or this is good, this is bad. Like the concept of angels and demons. There's no such thing as good and bad. Angels and demons are simply different connotations or different negatives and positives. So angels are demons with white wings, and demons are angels with black wings.
So you saying that we can't really do bad besides mind control thing? We can't do bad. We're just what? It's whatever we make it.
We have the power of free will.
You're gonna do good. You would do good.
You have the
How?
power of free will. You have the power of free will. Nobody's
How?
forcing you to do anything.
No, we typically
See,
do
what
what
Christianity is it's a feel good religion. So
How?
there's no it's a free I'm explaining to you.
I'm listening.
There's no consequence because if something good happened, it was God, and if something bad happened, the devil made me do it. So
That's not
it's a
true at all.
religion. For
That's-
most of them, it's a scapegoat religion.
No, that's not
No
actual.
accountability.
That's not in anywhere in Christianity at all.
What is Christianity? How
Christianity
did Christianity start?
is a Christian is a follower of Christ. Christianity is a group of Christ followers.
Put it up.
So that's what Christianity is. Now, you got people who like all evil things. Like in Christianity, a person could choose to do something evil. Like he chose to do that.
Our sister Queen got something up here. She said evil spelled backwards is live. Spirited person, so they are calling spirituality evil. What you have to understand is words are spells, which is the reason why they call it spelling. We've been casting spells since the spelling bees and writing curses in cursive. So what you have to understand is God simply means dog. Devil lived. Listen and silent have the same words.
That's in English.
English is one of the most magical languages because it's a language full of trickery and foolery and language of spells.
And it's all the languages put together.
So why didn't
it's all the languages put together because it's a 5th, 6th century Anglo-Saxon Germanic language.
So why didn't the source come and
going back to the
why didn't the source come and give us like
text?
Why didn't the source give us hardcore information so we can know what's the correct way?
Because the higher ups have the information. It's called the Vatican. They don't give it to the muggles because if the powerful, Dr. John Henry Clark said it best. The powerful can't afford to educate the unknowledgeable, the poor, because in the event that they have knowledge, they'll no longer ask for it, they'll take it.
What I'm saying is, why didn't the source fix it? He's above all. Why didn't he fix it?
The source is a he. Spirit has no gender. What you have to understand is the source simply is.
The source. Why didn't the source fix it?
But from the source, let me finish. From the source, it divides itself into the divine masculine and the divine feminine. That's the apex. That's the Nikola Tesla code 369. Everything in the pyramid.
He said, "Why didn't the source fix it? You got free will.
You got free will, brother."
Now, regardless of free will, why didn't the source fix the problem?
Why didn't God just kill the devil?
Why? In Christianity, the devil has
in Christianity. Keywords.
Let him go.
Yeah, in Christianity. Yeah, I don't fully know your religion. I only can talk from Christianity. In Christianity, the Satan has an appointment for death. And anybody who reads the book understands that. So he will be judged. God gave a judgment day. It's just like if I was to shoot somebody now, I'm not going to go to. If I was to shoot somebody now and murder them, I have to go through trial and I'll have an appointed day, an appointed court date.
Gotta have a trial.
Can I say one more thing, brother?
No, we're talking about an appointed court date.
In the Egyptian text, when you go to the afterlife, and when Anubis carries you over to the afterlife, or Sobek, I mean, my fault. Anubis carries you over to the afterlife. He sends you to Mayat. Your heart weighs on a feather. So if your heart weighs heavier than a feather, then you go to the pool to burn with Sobek. And spirit means to breathe. So in etymology, the word spirit means to breathe. So if you're not doing anything, so if you're not breathing, you're not doing anything spiritual. Henceforth, which is why Taoism is tied into spirituality, because you can become a breatharian and live off your sexual energy. Also, reason why you have yoga, that deals with breathing. Females can breathe through the yoni or through the vagina. You see what I'm saying? So you understand the deeper science, you know that you can go 36 days or 37 days without food, but you can't go 37 days without water. Your body is 77% water. Your brain holds 80% water. When you were in the womb, you was in water. You're surrounded around this plane by water. So it's safe to say that water is a sustainer. And along with sunlight, which is light energy, it is also the sustainer, because you need the divine masculine and the divine feminine principle to create life. Sperm and its metaphysical and quantum properties are light cells. So when you understand this, through the vibrations of the sun, it can amplify your sperm cells and help with pregnancy, because everything deals with light energy.
Now,
you have electricity running through your veins, bro.
My question, I'm trying to get clarity on is, far as death, the people who are doing evil things, do they eventually come back to this earth, or do they, like, what happens?
That's the punishment, having to reincarnate and come back to this earthly plane.
Do good people,
life lesson.
So do good people come back?
All people come back, whether you perceive them to be good or bad or not. Some people, when they fuck up so bad, them will get caught on the other side in between, and they're left as an intranquil or incubus or succubus spirit.
Some people can transition over to be ancestors.
So you're saying,
yeah, some people can transition over to be ancestors. You know what I'm saying? But that's when you really master it all. Even in Strega, which is Italian witchcraft in the 4th degree, that's when you have transitioned and become an ancestor, because then you have mastered all in the universe. You have ascertained the wisdom. You see what I'm saying? So these are all simply concepts and points of view.
But all these people that started over, how come they're not bringing the knowledge back?
Some of them are.
Some do.
Some of them are.
The geniuses.
Some of them are.
The geniuses.
Some of them are. Like, some of them come to be teachers. Some of them come to be students to learn, and some of them come to do both, because we're here to
little kids that be knowing everything. They call them smart Alex.
Yeah, real talk.
So you said the Vatican, the Masonic, the 33rd degree Masons, like all of these upper echelon people that's
Western Freemasonry. Western Freemasonry is only 33 degrees.
No, I'm saying all across the world, all of these people that are in these elite secret enlightenment, all these enlightenment areas that, because they keep it a secret, it's not open. Why is it the source doesn't fix it so everybody has the information?
You gotta tap you, because you gotta be able to. The information ain't just, you can just read the book and get the information.
I'm saying why the source doesn't give it to us though? Why doesn't the source just make it so we know?
He gives it to us, but their job is to keep you from realizing. The book job is to keep you. It's actually a book to keep you from reaching spirituality.
Basically, it's to keep you stuck in one thing.
The source should be powerful enough to get, like, the source is allowing this stupid cycle to continue. If it's true, if what you're saying is true, the source is allowing this stupid cycle to continue. For what purpose?
This is the devil's world, baby. This is the devil's world, man.
But the source is above the devil, right?
Like you said, like I said, why God ain't just kill the devil? He did that nigga.
When we speak of devil, we're not talking about a physical being or entity. We're talking about a devaluer. Anybody can be the devil. If you devalue life and don't value mankind, you are a devaluer. You are a devil.
Remember the devil walking to the meeting and God was like, "Damn, where the hell you been at?" Walking to and fro earth, doing whatever the hell.
And then the word demon comes from the word daemon, which is Greek for nature spirit. So demons and angels are nothing but nature spirits.
What I do know is, in the end, it'll be Christianity that is perceived as demonic, and then once that happens, Christianity will be the outcast, and everybody will be united in the other religion. All of the stuff that you're talking about, that all of that is going to be considered good, and Christianity is going to be demonized as evil.
Yes. King David, post that. Energy cannot be destroyed.
Yeah,
you can't destroy energy.
I'm familiar.
There is no such thing as death. First, in law of thermodynamics, is that energy cannot be changed nor destroyed, only transformed or transmutated. So we understand thermodynamics. We're talking about gases, liquids, and solids. Dig what I'm saying? Since everything is energy can't be killed.
God is beyond that.
It can be dissipated, but only transformed. So we understand this. Once you leave this avatar, this false body within third dimension or in third density, you go back to the source. Once you reviewed your life, you can choose when you want to come back.
Sounds
time
good.
Time over there is way faster than time over here. See, in a lot of these movies, they give you the metaphysics and the basic concept of what's going on. The problem is you don't know how to go in between, kind of like with Lucy. It gave you the concept of melanin. Melanin is condensed sunlight. You get your soul from the solar system. Henceforth, while we're solar beings. So when she turned into the liquid form in the end, and when the dude asked where she was at, she said, I'm everywhere. It's basically talking about melanin. Melanin means demon. Daemon means nature spirit. So melanin means spirit because you get your melanin from the sun. You get your soul from the solar system. The same thing with Doctor Strange. The great one, or who the womb man is, the one man, the first teacher, initiated him into higher knowledge.
We fuck with metaphysics.
He probably don't mess with metaphysics, so I might be talking this bullshit. Because now I'm really getting my bag, and I'm really getting happy in this discussion. It's not debate, positive building discussion. It's like if he's not following me, I'm kind of getting upset because the Green Hawk, because the Green Hawk, the Green Lantern, any green energy deals with the green ether, and most of them energies are taken from Osiris or Asar because once he went to the underworld, he was described as the green god or the green nectar. You see what I'm saying? So once you understand the metaphysics of these cartoons and these shows, you see how they tap into this ancient wisdom. Transformers, Thundercats, Dragon Ball Z. You know, the 7 Dragon Balls represent the 7 chakras. You see what I'm saying?
I know a lot of it.
And the dragon can be a representation of a serpent, which can represent the Kundalini energy. You see what I'm saying? So
now, listen, I'm definitely. This is why I watch and follow a lot of those stuff. That's what I'm definitely familiar with what you're talking about. I follow a lot of that stuff. I mean, I know over in Africa and Kenya, the Christian church is actually not really a Christian church. A lot of them they follow the Kundalini spirit. Like that's what they actually follow, but they just call it Christianity. You know, over in Africa, it's the actual Kundalini spirit that they follow.
Because what you have to understand is they had a form of Christianity in Ethiopia with Christian Coptic churches with the swastikas. So see what I'm saying? So they had the form of Christianity already, and they do have an Ethiopian Bible that's written in Ge'ez that has all of the 88.
Yeah, they got the apocryphas and the other stuff.
Right.
But did they take it literally though? That's the thing.
And see the funny thing
they're definitely different than what the Christianity over here.
And see, once you understand the deeper meaning, like Allah, it means arm, leg, arm, head. The same thing.
That's real big in Philadelphia.
Islam,
I'm familiar with that.
Law and master. And see the same thing with the knowledge. 33 degrees is what we taught them. We only taught them 33 degrees when they came into Kemet because we taught all of their Greek scholars. You see what I'm saying? Imhotep was one of the first positions. He taught their dude. You dig what I'm saying? So you have to understand that Socrates and all them dudes went and studied under them. So we had 360 degrees of knowledge, which is the XX chromosome, because every degree is 90 degrees. The same thing with the swastika. Every angle is a 90-degree angle, which makes up a total sum of 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9 is the highest number in numerology. Every number after 9 therefore repeats itself. 9 is the only number that you can times it by itself and you get the same
the sum when you add the two numbers
exactly up. So like this goes into like the 5%ers, you know what I'm saying? Ancient mathematics,
real big in Philly.
Alphabet, 120 lessons. You know, so when you understand this, 720 degrees is actually the XX chromosome, because when you times 306 times 360 and you get all them 90s together, that's 720 degrees. So 720 degrees is the total sum of all material knowledge and spiritual knowledege, and that's the connection.
See, there's a lot of numerology that I'm familiar with. Yeah, I'm familiar. Listen,
and that's seven.
I just don't. The only difference, I just don't believe. Listen, the difference is I believe in Christianity, and it doesn't mean that I'm not familiar with the numerology, the 5%ers. I've had to study this stuff just to even figure out what people was talking about. I mean, even when it comes to NASA, they're real big in this numerology, the distance of the sun and stuff like that is what you're saying.
Right.
But like I said,
be careful with NASA though. Be careful with NASA, because in Hebrew it means to deceive. And that's that pseudoscience. That's that pseudoscience. The motherfuckers they went to space, and every time they say they're in a space thing, them motherfuckers on a CGI thing inside a water tank. Don't believe that shit, bro. Don't believe it. You from Philly. You know better than that.
No, listen, I don't believe it. I know they didn't go anywhere. I'm just saying they use a lot of that numerology stuff. I'm just saying a lot of this stuff has a lot of.
It does.
Like it's all intertwined.
It is.
But from a Christianity perspective, it would make perfect sense for all of those things to be connected
Right.
as Satan worship, because they all end up doing the same thing. When you follow like these celebrities, the Hollywood people, the elites, they all end up sacrificing babies just like they did with Baal and Moloch.
In Moloch, yep, uh-huh.
They all end up doing the same thing as the Assyrians and the Babylonians.
What you have to understand is that all these occults are not the same. Some of the higher ups are practicing some of that, but you got to
Right, but
understand
that's what I said about the Vatican and about the Masonic people. Like,
But you have to understand this: they've been cloning since the ancient Kemites and the Egyptians in the Temple of Seti I. So then, back in the 3rd and 4th century, once Hitler got back into the science and they caught with Hitler, they were cloning it and getting it good by the 5th century. So a lot of the babies that you see are clone babies. Dig what I'm saying? They're like carbon copies. And now they got these sleeper cells, to where if you want to be a European, you can transfer your consciousness into a white body, have a 6-pack and everything. Oh, it's serious out here. Because they're different, because there are different methods of cloning. You can take a carbon copy and genetically grow one, and you can have like a Mach 1, a Mach 2, a Mach 3. Mach 1s and Mach 2s need like handlers. Mach 3 can never do his own thing. You dig what I'm saying? But then some of them have kind of like with Kanye.
Kanye West, yeah.
They put him in a sunken place. He came back out hugging
Donald Trump.
This same dude saying that Bush don't like black people. They're one the same. So we knew something wasn't right.
I follow a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of
that the MK Ultra stuff is powerful.
Yeah.
They had the Angel of Death experiments. When they mentioned in Captain America about Hydra, about Shield going over there that's
the thing about Hollywood. They give truth in their movies
with Operation what was that?
Mockingbird, maybe?
Operation something, to where they took all the best scientists from
Project Mockingbird.
No. It's called something else, but that was another one. But basically, in these movies, they tell us bits in truth. But NASA. But Shield was NASA, and then Hydra was my fault. Shield was the CIA, and then Hydra was NASA. But they kind of play with us though. But they give us the science though. They let you know.
Yeah, because we took all the Hitler scientists and brought them over here to start doing the experiments. It never stopped. They kept doing it.
Man, hey, I don't want to get hit down by the drone. Goddamn it, leave us alone. Oh yes, and this is another thing that he's saying. King David is saying that a male, we are the XY chromosome, which is to say that we are a mutation of the woman or the original man, which is why we have breasts that don't nurture anything, because the first 9 weeks as a fetus we have a vagina before it forms into a phallus. So what you have to understand is the male is kind of a derivative of the original woman, because she's the XX chromosome and she's complete. She uses every organ. She has testosterone and estrogen, which allows them to grow facial hair. And we already have sperm on the ovaries. We just act as a conduit to help jumpstart. You know what I'm saying? But they already have sperm on the ovaries. You know what I'm saying? But in their devolved state, they need male assistance. But if we were in ancient times, and let's just say, theoretically, if they were vibrating on their highest frequency through the vibrations of the sun, as I explained before, that sperm is a form of light cells, they can get pregnant through vibrations of the sun. And this is where you get these immaculate conceptions in all these religions, but they're not giving us the deeper science. See what I'm saying? If we want to keep going back to the stories, then we can take Jesus back to Krishna. We can take Jesus back to Heru or Horus. We can take Jesus back to Dionysus. Like, in every spiritual system that has some type of mythological being or entity, because I'm trying to tell you that you have to understand is that most of these religions and spiritual systems are based off astrology. So Orion's dipper is really Osiris. Orion's belt is really Osiris's belt of the Egyptian, Odin's belt of the Norse.
No, I know they definitely
Obatala's belt in the Yoruba of the West African. Vishnu of the Hindu, Quetzalcoatl, of the Mayan. So once you understand this astrology, you understand that it's a deeper meaning. It's nothing wrong with adhering to the stories, but take them as moral lessons. Is when we start taking them on the literal level. On the literal level, we start becoming fanatics. You know what I'm saying? Like we become stands over fans and become very radical with it. And the same thing in consciousness. You got all these pro-black brothers that are sold a culture. So you have to think about the Black Panthers. Half them motherfuckers was agents. Think about this. In the 50s and 60s, black people when they got them heads down, it couldn't be in the same bathroom. You mean tell me these Negroes can be in a goddamn pyramid Masonic formation with rifles? Don't sound right. Sound like a setup to me. You try and get these blacks out here to get aggressive, and get they got themselves killed.
Well, the best way to take over a movement is to lead it.
Exactly. And then think about it. How in the world are you getting a WIC program and a free breakfast program? How you niggas getting them funds? When in all truthfulness, pro-black or not, you gotta get everything from the man, whether it be white, Jewish, the elite, the 1%. You see what I'm saying? You still gotta get it from somewhere. So talking all that conscious yin yang is another category, and there are a lot of conscious groups that are stuck in the box. Even with the comedic science, a lot of these scholars are paid third degree Masons. They are taught to just sell you certain parts of the culture. They don't talk about the fallibility. They want to cover that shit up, So when you become a speaker of truth, you become unbiased with information. If I'm wrong and you can prove it to me, I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong. And then from there, I can revamp my knowledge, expand, and then kind of get trying to build that truth back up. But once again, we all exist within our own universe, and it's kind of like the 6 and the 9 effect. From your point of view, you're right, and from my point of view, I'm right. We're both right. We just have different points of view or different perspectives on that same thing.
I think y'all really disagreeing. I ain't really heard a disagreement.
Well, the biggest thing is our biggest crux is, like I said, I definitely researched just about everything you said. The story of Horus, Ishtar, the pagan rituals that got introduced into Christianity.
Right.
The biggest thing where we differ is whether Jesus was true or not. So that's just what it boils. If you're gonna have one or two things that happen in life, everything's gonna boil down to who Jesus is. If he really existed and was really who he said he was, you have to follow Christianity. But if you don't believe that, you're gonna follow, how you follow. Because all of Hollywood, all of the elites, they all follow that same type of religion. They give it to lower, lesser people in different bits and pieces, but the upper echelon follows that same thing of that same type of worship, of spirituality. And they try to keep a lot of people from obtaining that information.
But there are different levels of spirituality, and there are different ways of going about it. What we're talking magic is that there's no such thing as black and white magic. All magic is gray. It's all in the eye of the beholder. You can choose whether you want to do good or be positive or be negative with it. So it's one of the things that people in voodoo who are doing negative things, because in voodoo you have people that are called bokers, and these are people that do a spell for anybody for the right amount of money. What you have to understand is everything comes with a price, and it's called karma. So if you're doing things to try to get people's house burned down, eventually your house is going to get burned down. So everything you put into the universe, you get back. So it's one of the things that no matter what you believe, no matter what spiritual or religious system, if you have a concept of karma or the law of return, you understand that you want to put good out into the universe, out into the world, in order to receive good. Even if it doesn't necessarily come back to you, you should still be the change that you want to see. You see what I'm saying? In the universe.
All of those concepts is foreign to Christianity. So that's why I said that's where we differ at, whether Christianity and Jesus was true or not. You have a lot of, like I said, you got so much Christianity that actually falls under your religion, and they just call it Christianity. Like in Christianity, there isn't no you sow a seed and you get all of this back. That's not Christianity. That's what y'all believe. So there is a lot of indoctrination where people mix these other religions into Christianity and call it that. Like, we can't, nobody's supposed to be tied and then expecting to get in a significant amount of stuff and back. Like we can't, like the laws of attraction, like that's not in Christianity and whatsoever.
King David is asking, can you give him one story about Jesus outside of the Bible during that same time period?
Wait, give one story about Jesus outside of the Bible during the same time period.
Yes, sir. Damn.
What do you mean? Like a story about who?
Jesus the Christ. Since I mean, if he is to be the true and one and only messianic savior and the true son of God, then why is he not mentioning anything other than the Bible? Like, can you give us some other aspects or some other documentation other than the Bible of where he was doing his workings around the world?
Well, Jesus is the one. The stories about Jesus was collected and put into the Bible. All of the stuff that comes after that is people who talked about the eyewitness accounts, like Josephus talked about the eyewitness accounts. The Quran, which came 600 years after the Bible, these are people who, talk to the descendants of them. That's like if I collected all of my documents of my life, my autobiography, and all the stories that people know about me, somebody collected it and made a biography of it, and then somebody saying outside of the biography that you have of your life.
So that's it. It's the Bible. That's the answer. Like
if we're gonna go by factual, if it's factual, like it would have to be in the Bible. It would have to have been included. Who else is going to talk about it other than the disciples? Or like I said,
about Jesus outside the Bible at the same time period.
I mean, if it's at the same time period of somebody talking about Jesus, why wouldn't it be in the Bible?
What he's trying to ask you is, are there any other historical accounts or any other stories or parables about Jesus other than the Bible?
Like if you go to the doctor, like the doctor might tell you one thing, you might gotta get a second opinion.
And then it says Hebrew came out 1,000 years after Moses died. Could you tell me the language Moses used?
Let me answer that first.
But you know what? I'm gonna answer your question for you. Since you study the Quran, you ain't studied it too good, because it would talk about the 18 years that Jesus Christ did do works around the world. That's not described in the Bible. That's why he was gone for 18 years.
Yeah, see, those books though, we don't like the stuff that's in the Ethiopian text.
Truthfully, what he's saying is, no historians can attest to Jesus Christ being an actual person that ever lived. That's why there will be no other historical documentation of him during that time period other than the Bible.
No, it's like Moses. Who would have another story about Moses other than the ones that's in the book?
What you have to understand is, this is where Judaism trumps Christianity, because Judaism, the Torah, are based on the 5 books of Moses, which starts off your first 5 books, which would basically by default make Moses the first author of the Bible. This is the crazy thing. Moses allegedly died in the land of the Valley of Moab. So how could he live to write about his death? Like, who wrote after him? You know what I'm saying? Like, who was that author?
If it's literal.
If it's literal and it really did happen.
Who wrote what? About his death?
The Jews will tell you that the Torah is metaphysical.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? It's a metaphysical, metaphorical book.
Some Jews, like not every Jew believes exactly the same thing. You got some Jews who believe Jesus was the Messiah.
Okay, right.
Then you also have the fake Jews over there that's posing to be, well, the Jewish, but that's another story, so I'm not gonna get on that. Because we are the true people of every race, but yeah.
Yeah, but my point about, you said the stories about Jesus that are not in the Bible, if people thought there were stories about Jesus that were credible, they would have put it in the book.
So let me ask you another question. Go ahead and finish.
No, I mean that's just what it is. So to say, well, what about outside resources? They would have made it canonical. They would have included it in the book. But what we have is that's what I said. What it boils down to, the whole story boils down to the resurrection. You got a lot of people who wrote about Jesus, followers who said they saw Jesus rise from the dead.
But how we know that ain't metaphysical?
Well,
and not literal. So,
right. So that's what Christianity boils down to. Do you believe that the eyewitnesses that were murdered, that attested that they saw him rise from the dead, whether you believe it or not?
You said you put the emphasis on that were murdered. Like that make a difference in that.
What do you mean? No, you had eyewitnesses that were murdered for their testimony by Roman soldiers. Like that's what it was.
Roman soldiers killed a lot of people, bro.
No, but what I'm saying is they were killed because they said they saw Jesus rise from the dead.
Yeah, people was killed for less than that.
But what you have to understand is,
Yeah, but
if-
why? So what that's what I'm saying. Christianity's entire faith built is off of that. Whether you believe these eyewitnesses who said they saw him rise from the dead.
Christianity entire became big when this lady was.
No, I'm not talking about big. I'm saying that's the root. That's the root of it. If these eyewitnesses were lying, then we're wasting our time.
Christianity is really based off the faith of this one lady.
what you have to
What lady?
understand is that a
This
lot
lady,
of the
she was about to be thrown to the tigers, and all she had to do was denounce Jesus Christ, and she wouldn't do it. And
What would she gain?
That story blew up so big that Rome adopted Christianity.
But what would she have to gain? The story you're referring to.
I mean, she just was a true believer. I mean, she was a strong believer in Jesus Christ.
Right. So now look what you just said, right? So if she was knowingly lying, she gained nothing.
Right, but she heard about this. She heard about the story through a book, though.
Now I'm just saying, like, so the eyewitnesses died that same way. If they were knowingly lying, they gained absolutely nothing. Foolish. I don't know anybody that would do that today.
It's their faith. Some people will die for their faith.
let me ask you a question.
We're talking about the out.
Die for their faith.
Let me ask you a question.
Wait, real quick. Nobody would lie. I mean, nobody would die for their faith if they know it's a lie. Like, let's say I said I saw my wife fly here by herself, like up in the air.
A lot of people don't know shit, bro.
No, I'm talking about me as an eyewitness. I'm not. No, what I'm saying is, if I'm an eyewitness, I'm not gonna say if I made the story up about my wife flying, I'm not gonna lose my life for that. I know I made that up. I don't have nothing to gain. I'm the one that made the story up. But if I actually saw it and somebody putting a gun to my head, I'm gonna say, dude, I like listen. I saw it happen. Like that's what it is.
Okay.
So that's what the root of the Christianity is.
All right, but did you see it happen though?
No, of course not.
Okay,
Of course not.
All right.
And
Okay,
that's what I said.
At the
Right.
end of the day,
Yes.
we said the same thing.
Right.
You didn't see it happen.
It's not
No, absolutely.
it's not-
What I
it's
said
not
was
an
my
eyewitness
faith
You
is
didn't even see them people die.
It's not
Right.
an eyewitness testimony.
no, absolutely. My faith is based off these people who died, saying that there were
Question.
eyewitnesses.
Question. And let me ask you a logical question, because I study a lot of history, so I'm somewhat of a tiny historian.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be possible that Moses could possibly be based off the historical King Tutmosis?
Well, that'll make him real.
You see what I'm saying?
You
Like,
said
that-
based off of them?
I mean,
That helps him though.
but no. They taking a lot of these. See, what happens is in the Bible is they have a thing called literal incarnation. They use or take from an historical figure who actually did exist, take that name, switch that name around, and then off of this character, make a whole parable up off this individual. And through your belief, this character becomes real through literary incarnation. So if you see something like,
So you saying
Jesus
it only
the
can be
Christ.
one direction? Like it can't. You saying that the Bible has to be the one that's plagiarizing, and it can't be the other way around?
exactly what it is. The Bible is a bastardized book of a bastardized book of a bastardized book.
So
of
you
a
saying all
bastardized
the
book.
other stories is actually factual, but the Bible is the one that's plagiarized.
Is the Egypt stories true? That's what he wanted.
They are
Right.
derived from, yes, they are derived from our Egyptian stories, and these are stories that we taught to our people, and also derived from Babylonian
Did we
texts and
believe they were
Sumerian
true?
texts.
Did we believe they were true? That's what he wanted to know.
Of course, they believe that they were true, but you have to understand is they took some of that ancient science and twisted it around for the betterment of their good to use it against the masses.
See,
So
this is
once
the key.
again, it goes back to my original point that religion can be considered ominous or based off ominism, that they
Mhm.
have bits and pieces of truth in it, but have a big twist.
So why is the Egyptian account can't be that? You're taking it as if it's 100% factual. Why is it can't be the Egyptian that stole?
He got a point.
But you have to understand is our stories are put on the wall
Regardless of where they put it.
As we received it from the heavens, the divine intervention and divine wisdom.
But regardless of where it was written, why can't it be? What I'm saying is, why still, regardless of where you wrote it, the wall, a stone tablet, they poured it in concrete. Why can't y'all be plagiarized?
It's the same thing I just did to him. He's doing the same thing. He said
you got to use the same standard.
You got it from somebody else too. So you don't know.
What you have to understand is our stuff is in the wall. It's original. You ain't got none of this stuff new age today that's in any wall and any tablets.
So you said
Sumerian tablets and stuff are on the walls. Mayan tablets, their stuff, all the drawings are on the wall. Everybody's put their stuff on the wall.
Let's look at how history happened.
Today now are little bitty cartoons.
Oh no, look. Let's look at how history happens. Just about every time. There's a guy who came in and took over and burnt the originals and put their spin on it. Correct?
Most definitely. Except for the
the Egyptians is the exception to the rule.
Same thing, because they preceded and predated all these people.
You saying they put it on the wall, but who's to say they didn't steal?
What you have to understand is, even before there was an Egypt, everywhere in South Africa, West Africa, North Africa, they were collecting information before Kemet or Egypt was even considered, even thought of. See what I'm saying?
How do we know they didn't steal the information?
Because King David says right here, Egypt is based off divine intelligence. Because back then, we didn't have no TVs, we didn't have no cell phones, or none of that shit, or no email.
Any of those writers of the Bible.
All we had was our divine connection with the universe, and
neither did the writers of the Bible.
The universe and the system and the star constellation. We understood the mechanics of the universe and how
the people in the Bible had the same resources that what you're referring to. So how is it different?
What people?
Any writer of the Bible had the same resources. You said the only resource was divine intelligence.
These writers never existed. These writers
didn't exist.
Moses never existed. Paul never existed. John, none of them people ever existed.
We can say the same about Horus and stuff, though. That's what I'm saying. We can say the same thing. You saying because it's wrote on the wall is accurate. That's not logical. Just because it's wrote on the wall don't make it factual.
So we had to say it's a stalemate.
Let me ask you a question. Where do you think the original Bible came from? It came off the wall. Ptolemy Soter wrote the first Bible. One of the first Bibles.
The Bible.
He took it off the wall.
Before Jesus was, before Jesus' time, there wasn't no Bible at all. There were collections of books. They were just different books. They have scrolls. They say we got Isaiah. It wasn't. Somebody actually collected them all and put it in one book called the Bible. Like, so it wasn't no one Bible.
King David's asked you a good question. He said, Holy Bible means whole or complete book. So why are the books missing?
Go ahead, pull that up, that definition. The Holy Bible does not mean that. The Holy Bible does not mean that. We know Bible doesn't mean complete.
It means biblios as well, which means little books.
Exactly.
So why are those little books missing? Because if you put them back in and if you didn't take them out, then we would have to talk about the book of Enoch.
No, wait, hold on. Listen, you asked the question. The first thing is Holy Bible does not mean whole or complete book. We know that for a fact. So that's not accurate.
Scholar, I wouldn't challenge him.
We can just pull up the dictionary. Holy means holy. Bible does not mean complete or whole.
You're talking to a scholar now.
How does the word Bible, listen, it's only two words here, holy and Bible. Where can you translate that to mean whole or complete?
There are different levels of knowledge and different levels of occult books. So what he's trying to get at is why are the books missing, period. Forget what Holy Bible means. Forget the fact that if it means whole or complete or if it means tiny little books.
So that's a different question. Where are the other books? He would have to prove that those books belong in the Bible. If I write a book,
we know that they belong in the Bible because we have the Ethiopian Bible. That's
hold on. Based off of what? So you saying all the slim chance of the one book that has extra books is the one that's right, and all the other people got it wrong? You're taking a biased opinion.
I like him too, but You buck dance around the court, but look, you buck
I'm not
dancing,
dancing.
brother.
You're taking a biased approach. You're saying that the one that has the extra books is the only one that's right, and all the other ones got it wrong. That's being biased.
I mean, your people put it together.
We're not necessarily saying that. We're simply saying that it's a more complete version of what you guys have.
No,
and
that's
why
exactly what you're
missing?
saying. If
Why are
my
the books missing?
if the King James, New King James version, any of those versions, if they don't have the books of the Ethiopian, they obviously
The books of
it makes it.
Apocrypha.
What I'm saying is it makes it incomplete. So what you're saying is the Ethiopian Bible is the only one that's accurate, and all the other ones are inaccurate.
It's way more accurate than the other ones because the only white character in the Ethiopian Bible is the devil.
There isn't. What do you
They
mean
got
the
that
only?
one right. But bro, what we're getting at is once you start making mention of these books, then you got to get into the book of Enoch.
I've read the book
is
of
the
Enoch.
Ethiopian prophet who saw the spaceships and the Nephilim giants.
The book
You
of
see what I'm
Enoch.
saying?
Listen. The book of Enoch it has direct contradictions of the Old Testament. The genealogies, the timeline. That's why it wasn't included. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even add up.
What you have to understand is the Old Testament is not historical documentation. They are
All right, so let's look at that. We're talking about one book matching with the other book. So just like I gave you the example about Allah.
Holy means whole, which means complete. That's what happens to me, bro. When we study etymology, you study the roots and basis of words, and then you start understanding that some words are synonymous with other words.
Holy is free from sin, but again,
okay. That's a Christian version. That's a Christian aspect. See
what I'm saying? We're talking about Christianity. We're talking about Christianity.
He is coming from an etymological standpoint of scholarship, which he probably has, which King David probably has an Oxford dictionary because you don't.
But we're talking about. But if I'm talking to somebody and we're talking about algebra, I'm not going to use an example of something that's not algebra. Like, so we're talking about the Christianity version. Like this, we're talking about Christianity.
And that's simply showing you how one-sided you are. And that's what happens with a lot of Christians. They have tunnel vision. They're not allowed to see this point of view and that point of view because of your belief system.
No, I can see the other point of view.
Out of a belief system and get to a know thy ledge, a knowledge system, then you start getting self-discovery and things that you were looking for start revealing themselves before you.
But
another reason why they took books out the Bible is because you got to make mention of Mary and Joseph. When Mary was with Joseph, Mary was like 12 to 14 years old, and Joseph was like 96.
There's no evidence of any of that. There's no evidence of any of that.
It's in the apocryphal accounts.
Exactly. So let's look at this. All right, so let's look at.
That's why they removed some of those books.
All right, so look, let's talk about what you're talking.
Reading that.
Wait, hold on. Let's talk. I've read the book. Let's talk about exactly what you're talking about.
You keep saying you read this stuff, but why are you still a Christian?
Well, look, let me answer you. So you're saying
every Christian says that. Like, I read all these books, but you're still in the belief system. You said knowledge system, still in the belief system.
All right,
so what you read.
So what you're saying is, like, I gave the example of why the Quran can't be branched off of Christianity. So there's a book you said Joseph and Mary was Mary Magdalene. I mean Mary, not Mary Magdalene, but Mary was 12 to 14 years old. It doesn't fit with the actual criteria of what was considered an adult woman in the Old Testament.
I think we could do a debate. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is we're not talking about whether I think it's right or wrong. I'm saying, like, if I'm gonna judge a book, you got to let the book define its terms, right?
What it's trying to get you to think, brother. That's all trying to get you to think.
But listen what I'm saying. Just like I said in the Quran, Allah allows you to sleep with other married women if you got them in war captive.
You're on the literal level of Allah. When you understand what Allah means, it means arm, leg, arm, head.
No, we're just talking about the book. You said this book was taken out.
That's the problem. You're stuck in the book. Once you get out of the book, that's when you really start to learn.
So why would I accept? So why should I accept that the Apocrypha was taken out when it doesn't even line up with the other? It doesn't read the same. It doesn't even line up the same.
Because when you take them out, it would hide that none of this shit has to do with anything holy, and it would show a lot of contradictions in the Bible, and thus for it further prove that the Bible is a fallible book.
There isn't no contradiction until you add that book to it.
So that book doesn't even in the Bible. Oh my gosh! Once again, like I said from the start, my general statement was look up 1,001 Bible contradictions or 101 Bible contradictions. It'll show you all day all the Bible contradictions in the Bible. The problem is you haven't been trained to see them that way because a lot of you are under the God spell or the gold spell.
Hey, brother, you said we're gonna see Jesus physically return.
Right. So what we'll see, look, this is what we'll see leading up to his return. We're going to eventually see Christianity as the pagan religion of the earth.
Is it not?
What I'm saying is we're going to see it being outlawed, where everybody is on one religion and Christianity is the one that's wrong. Then you're going to start seeing Christians being thrown in jail and Christians being killed. All of the ones
that's been happening.
No, it's not happening all across the listen. I can go outside and say I'm a Christian. Nobody's going to lock me up. It's going to be a point.
What I'm trying to tell you is how do you think Christianity got big?
What I'm
forget
saying
about the Christian Crusades, man, where they're putting people on the X.
You're not listening.
Let it go, brother.
What's going to happen is anybody who claims to be a Christian in every country is going to be outlawed. It's going to be illegal.
Right.
And pagan simply means that you don't follow the masses, or pagan can simply mean a country dweller, which means one who did not want to adhere to the dominating religion of those times. A lot of these European holidays come from the slaying of the indigenous people, or of some type of paganistic people or spiritual people who didn't want to be down with the foolery or the fuckery. They just want to live good and live by themselves. Christianity did not become popular through its truth. It came popular through violence.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying, he asked me about when will Jesus return.
Never.
So when you see Christianity become a pagan religion across the world, Christianity will be the pagan religion, and everybody else will be on the same accord. Christians is going to hold on. Christianity is going to be outlawed, and we'll be being persecuted and killed everywhere.
It's too profitable. They make too much off the black church right now. Goddamn, $200 billion a year. I doubt it.
So when that happens,
the black energy.
When that happens, then you're going to see one person set up as a ruler over the planet. When that happens, then you'll see Jesus return.
Bro, in the words of Seti,
there's going to be a person declaring himself as God on this planet, and Christianity is going to be outlawed. That's when you'll see Jesus return.
My brother. No man has come out the sky and verified one religion over the other.
All right, well, we will see.
It does not make this an eyewitness testimony.
Listen, all I'm saying is when you see Christians being outlawed as pagans, and then there's a person set up as God on this earth for people to worship, that's when Jesus is going to return.
It's happening now. It's called celebrity.
You will see that with no Christian.
Hey, my brother. Wait a minute. Hold on. My brother. Let me ask you a question, man. I'm being for real though. Is everybody in the world gonna see Jesus when he returns?
So what I'm describing to you is a worldwide event for everybody. That's why I'm telling you this. So you don't have to believe it now. But when you see Christianity as the pagan religion across the entire world, not in this pocket and that pocket, it's not going to be no hidden thing. Like everybody is going to know Christianity is the wrong religion, the pagan religion, and you will see them being killed, and people are going to be happy about it. And you will see there will be a man that's being worshipped as a man. The man's going to be worshipped as God. There will be something set up for you to worship this guy. That's when Jesus will return. This will be a worldwide event for everybody's going to be on page 1 or 2. Either you're a Christian and you're a pagan at this time period, or you're on the other religion worshiping this God that's set up.
May I please ask you one question?
With your eyes.
That's what. Hold on. Let me. Okay, you said something you can see with your physical eyes.
Absolutely.
All right, and I was about to say before we started the podcast, this was the conversation, and I was about to say, I said I didn't want to ruin it, but do you believe in the pineal gland?
The pineal gland.
What do you mean by believe in it?
Third eye.
I mean, is that a fact?
You have to be specific because it's what a fact about the pineal gland.
Is that
we can get spiritual awareness or something? Or
yeah, it's the third eye.
No, I don't personally
you don't buy
believe.
into that.
No, I don't believe. Listen,
Okay.
it's people that can do it. Don't get me wrong. It's people that can tap into spiritual things.
What?
That's
I
a
do it all the
fact.
time.
Is the Bible a spiritual book or is it a historical?
I believe it's a historical book, a literal book, and a spiritual book.
Oh, you said literal. For the literal word kills. Says it in your Bible.
That's why it's gonna be so much death and carnage when Jesus comes back instead of peace. And it seems like peace on earth will bring Jesus back.
You dig what
Nah,
I'm
but look,
saying?
Why
so
would I
look,
come
so
back to
look,
some?
some bullshit. You know what I mean?
He already came
Because-
down here, got killed once. Like
once. Well,
right, you asked once, right? Look, this is why. Because the first time he came as the Messiah to show people
this time he comes back as a
what's
war
correct.
guy.
The second time he's coming to set up his kingship. So, but this is why I said nobody has to believe in it, but this is a prophecy here.
you know
If
what,
see
brother?
Christianity everywhere ruled out and outlawed and people being killed for Christianity, and you see a person being worshipped as God, then you know that the Bible was right. But if you never see it, don't worry about it.
Let me ask you a question, brother. For the popes and the Vatican that runs all major religions, why is it that they worship the Black Madonna child and run the world and got y'all worshiping a white hippie?
Hey, I got something on that.
All right, so the Vatican,
Let me say something about that. I don't think that's a black mother. I think that's a white woman in blackface.
You think so?
I think they've been doing blackface.
Mm.
And it just kept going.
It kept going with it. Okay.
no,
okay,
so
okay.
the Catholics is not a Christian religion. They're set up as an antichrist. That's
They are big brothers.
They are big brother.
no,
The same way
they're
that
set up
Europe,
to
the same way
they're set up
that
to mislead
Europe is the
people.
United States, big brother. We little sister.
They are set up to mislead people. Like he's like an Alex Jones. He's controlled opposition, just like Martin Luther King. He controlled opposition.
Yep.
They're set up.
Because he was funded by the
By the church.
by the Rothschilds.
Yeah, he was a reverend.
Yeah. Listen. So what I'm saying is that's what the Catholics are. The Catholics was set up to introduce the masses to so-called Christianity, but they was really to bring in all of those rituals, like the pagan holidays and around the summer. What's that? The solstice, Ishtar. That's what the Catholics was, to introduce the paganism.
What they understand is that
They
in
were set up to be
paganism,
God on earth. That's why you call the God Father and you
what they
confess your
understand
sins to
is
Him.
that religion to us back in those days was a taboo in a way of life, and not what it is today in westernized religion as a dogma or being dogmatic. So understand that's a way of life. They understand that the woman was sacred and that she was the first teacher and the manifestation of God. That's why you see all these higher ups worshiping some type of goddess worship or some type of goddess rather than some type of God that they gave y'all. Dig what I'm saying? Because they understand that she's a manifestation of God. But they got y'all worshiping or looking at this dude, Cesar de Borgia, who's a false image of Christ.
None of that stuff that the Catholics show is in Christianity. None of that stuff is in Christianity at all. None of it.
They understand it because they understand it to be a hustle. It's all part of the plan. It's
right, but what I'm telling you is you keep relating that.
What is true Christianity? Brother?
Yeah, explain that to us.
Give him the mic. Please.
Yeah, go ahead. Explain that to us.
Christianity is a group of people that follows Jesus Christ. They believe Jesus died on the cross, and because he was God who came in the flesh to physically walk with us as God. He died on the cross as a sacrifice for our sins. He was resurrected on the third day, and then he gave us the Holy Spirit so that we can also walk as holy people, following Jesus Christ. And our job is to wait for his return, because this is not our kingdom. This is obviously Satan's world. So all of these religions that all have the similar truths, similar theme, is all ran by Satan. And our job is to wait for him to return and set up his kingdom.
So everybody else got it wrong, but yeah.
Whoever has the truth, everybody else has it wrong. That's reality. So if you have the truth, everybody else will have it wrong. Well, as I said, the crux of me will be, I believe the eyewitnesses. The eyewitnesses.
You just said believe. You just say no.
How many eyewitnesses was it?
You didn't say no. You said believe.
How many eyewitnesses was it?
No, absolutely. It's a belief, because I didn't see the eyewitnesses, but I believe the testimony.
How many was it?
It was hundreds. Hundreds.
Okay.
It wasn't thousands. It was just hundreds of eyewitnesses.
I thought it was like 2 or something.
Like this is the same thing that happens when we go into the story of Cain and Abel, about him slaying Abel and about him going to the land of Nod and finding a wife.
Okay.
Like who the hell are these goddamn people? Where these people from the land of Nod come from? You see what I'm saying?
Well, it's simple.
But these are things that we just
Adam and Eve had a lot of children. The
Okay.
Cain and Abel is a specific lineage of those two. Everything comes right down from. So Cain didn't have a lot. You got Cain. Cain killed Abel. Abel was replaced by Seth. So Cain's lineage and Abel's and Seth's lineage. Cain's lineage is all
Seth.
is
Oh, Seth.
Seth.
Or Seth.
So Cain.
Because
Yeah,
that's another name for Seth.
So Cain's lineage is where we get a lot of those the pagan rituals. That's where we get the Babylonian. A lot of things came
The
directly
story
from
of Cain and Abel is based off a story of a star and Seth. Do you pay attention to this? That's how these stories are intertwined, interconnected.
It's negative and positive.
It's negative and positive.
But as I always said,
It has no concept of good and evil.
It's
the
just always
bias-
in this battle, bro.
the bias would be
It's kind of like Hebrew Israelites against Kemetic science. It's always going to be that opposing opposite. Star constellation, Sirius and Nibiru. It's always going to be some type of opposition. Coca-Cola versus Pepsi.
So it's going to be a time period on this earth. If you see a man being worshipped as God and everybody across the entire planet is commanded to worship this person as God, and Christianity is outlawed as pagan ritual, a pagan religion, and they're going to be killed,
Jesus is
then you should look at the Bible as facts, because that's a prophecy. Now that would be impossible to happen, because today Christianity is one of the biggest religions financially, right? So for Christianity to be flipped 180 and all Christians to be outlawed, even the Catholic, none of that stuff is going to exist in this time period. If that happens in our lifetime, then you will know what I'm saying to you is factual.
So look, man, the way they work on a number code, right? So they know to do something major every 33 years. So if they know that, it really ain't prophecy. If I
planning the shit,
right? If I'm telling my group do this event at this time, at this certain period of time.
All right, but would you worship? Hold on, look. Let's ignore the Christianity being persecuted and killed. Would you worship a man as God?
No. That's why we're
right. So that's the main. That's the main component. No, hold on, look. The main component of Christians being killed is there's a man that's going to be calling himself God in the flesh and to worship him. If that happens, then you'll know what I'm talking. That's when all the other stuff happens. He's the driver of it. If that's what I'm saying. So that's the only thing I'm putting out there. If that happens, what I said was true.
So you living the whole beef. It wasn't a beef. Just the whole.
We have a question right here. If Adam and Eve were the first man and woman, and they had sons whom had wives, where did the women come from?
Adam and Eve have a lot of kids.
What about
Lilith? A lot of kids.
Lilith came before Eve.
Listen, I'm familiar with the story with Lilith. Again, you're bringing all doctrines that's outside of. That's why I said, look, this is now, the answer to God's question. It was multiple kids that they had. Cain and Abel was the lineage that was listed. But what I'm saying is, if you see a man being set up on a throne as God to be worshipped, all across the entire planet, everybody on that same page, except for people who call themselves Christians, then you know what I said is true. The Bible will be true at that point.
Brother,
I'm about to turn water into wine.
Brother,
right now.
Let me tell you something. Your true birthmark is your belly button, because that's proof that you were given life from the person who preceded you, your mother, who's your first goddess, your first god. Your mother and your father are your guys and your goddess. Those were your first two guys that you ever knew in life, because you cried to your mama for her loving, tender careness and her kindness and her nurturing.
I never worshipped them.
For protection.
I never worshipped them.
You were taught a religion. You weren't born with no religion. You was taught a religion. Later on, you would then be introduced to a religion and a doctrine that you would accept from your grandmama, who taught her mama, who unknowingly didn't know that's not truthful, but teaches her mama, so it's all per se.
So
Your
you
whole
saying I don't
life,
have free
you've been
will to
taught per
choose
se.
what I believe now?
You've been taught per se all your life.
No,
'Cause none
wait,
of you
listen,
have
listen.
challenged or
Wait, hold
looked
on.
up
Listen to
where it stands
my
from.
question. My question is specific. You saying I don't have free will to choose what I believe now?
From based on your psyche of how you think everything is doom and gloom and it's gonna be just
You've been
Everything-
indoctrinated from an early age. You've been indoctrinated from an early
Yeah,
age.
Everything
it's like,
is doom and
no
gloom.
matter what. I just think you just like the fact that it's gonna be a purge. And
Now, brother. Let me get back to my original point without deviating. When I say that's your umbilical cord, tied to your belly button is your true birthmark. Okay, well then, if Adam and Eve were the first man and woman to be created, why do they have belly buttons?
Who said they have
birthed
belly
them?
buttons? Who said
And-
they had belly buttons?
In all these cartoons and depictions, it shows Adam and Eve with a
Come
belly
on, man.
button.
How you gonna
So if
use
they-
the
so
cartoon
if they
as an
have a belly,
example?
because
That's
they're all
actually
cartoons.
listen.
If they had a belly button, who created them?
Let me
birthed them?
let me answer the question. That's one of the jokes when we do scholar. Like even one of the
You're not no scholar, bro. You're not no scholar. I done broke down about 10 different Bibles till you couldn't give me one. You're not no scholar.
I
Plus,
didn't
it's like
even
5 different
you
versions.
didn't you didn't
Like
you,
6
you
different
didn't
versions of the King James
so I
Bible.
can't. You're not gonna let me talk.
Go ahead. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
You
You didn't
interrupt
know
me.
that the book of John was a forgery. It wasn't added to the
All right,
first
let me know when I can talk.
Go there.
let him go.
Go ahead.
Let him go, bro.
Don't play crazy. Let's go.
So what I said before you interrupted me, I said that's one of the jokes people that are scholars say of Christianity. They say, how can you recognize who Adam and Eve of? Who is Adam and Eve in heaven? It's the two people with no belly buttons. So what I was saying was the people that are scholars that actually get the Christianity correctly. They always say those are the only two that wouldn't have belly buttons. You're using cartoons as a source, like no.
Because
no,
every time we see a depiction of Adam and Eve, it's a cartoon.
all right, well, you gotta judge the book by the book. You can't judge the book by a cartoon. That's just being silly. I wouldn't tell you this cartoon
And
I
that's my
seen the
point
book.
exactly. The Bible itself is damn silly.
Yeah, but
Let's
come
be
on,
on the literal level.
come on, we're adults here. We're not. I'm not going to
Exactly, we're adults.
I'm
And if
not
it's time
gonna
at
take
adulthood, should no grown individual still be leaving in the little bitty cartoons
I'm not
and
going to
kid
take
stories?
a cartoon to make a point about what you believe. That's ridiculous.
I didn't say about what I believe. I said, what do you
You're
know?
taking a book. You're taking a cartoon about Adam and Eve having a belly button to make a point about what's in the Bible. That's ridiculous.
Because the Bible is ridiculous. And this is the point
Regardless
and this is
of
the
whether
point,
you
and this is what happens with
regardless-
Christians who are in a belief system who get caught in their cognitive dissonance. When you have no fact or evidence or scholarly proof to debate an individual, then you start going in what you've always known and which you always believe. You go back to your same regurgitation of your same rhetoric.
You're taking
things
a
that you say over and over
cartoon.
again.
You're taking a cartoon to make a point about the Bible is ridiculous. Regardless of whether you believe in the book or not, you cannot take something of a cartoon to make your point about a story that was written before TVs was invented. That's what I said is ridiculous.
That's why there are no historical dates in the Bible, because
That's a completely irrelevant of what the point you just made. The point you
it
made
is very relevant, because if it wasn't
All right.
in school, we have been taught private, upscale, whatever. Historical books have historical dates and have historical reference points and historians that were there to record it. There are no who are the historians who recorded this. That's why I keep telling you, give me one author in the Bible that we can find some type of bone marrow or some type of physical, tangible evidence today. You can't.
So if we find a bone marrow, that proves absolutely nothing. It's not like we can figure out who bone it was. That's silly. How you going to figure out who bone it was? Listen, all the Christians could have got together when they was in absolute power and said, this is the bones of Matthew, who wrote the book of Matthew. Who's going to believe it though? How could you prove that? That's ridiculous.
Let me ask you another question, brother. Is Egypt in the Middle East, or is Egypt in East Africa, in the east corner of Africa, along the Mediterranean? Because the Bible says that Egypt's in the Middle East. So since you're a scholar, and I'm quite sure
I never said I was a scholar. You keep saying that.
Okay. Well. Since you said that you read all this, and you know all this information, because every time I talk with a Christian, I talked with a Christian. They always say that. Well, I've studied everything that you say and you brought up so far. So if you study this,
Yeah, I studied the pagan.
is Egypt truly in the Middle East, or is Egypt in the northeast corner of Africa?
I mean, where Egypt is at today is not how it was mapped out as far as territorial back then.
Are you sure? Because some of the oldest maps are terror maps, and I'm
The-
quite
the-
sure that they have more
Yeah,
ancient
I'm quite
maps
sure
that
because
are more
because
accurate.
even back then, the United States wasn't 50 divisions. Like that's just being silly. It wasn't 50. It wasn't always 50 states. It wasn't. So Egypt was not always territorial. Africa wasn't always territorial the way it's divided up today.
So you mean to tell me, my brother, that Egypt has always been in the Middle East?
I didn't say anything. I would have to look at it. That's a historical event.
Exactly. You do.
I would
You
have to
don't.
actually.
You exactly,
You
brother.
don't.
You don't
I can't
know.
talk, can I?
No, but I'm trying to prove my point here. This is what happens when you caught up in religion and get caught up in a belief system. You're not on a knowledge system. When you study world geography, you would know that Egypt is a bastardized word for Kemet. So this is two different denotions. Egypt simply means bondage. This a point in time after we lost our power and lost our governorship. When you speak of Kemet, you're talking about the land of the black. Now you're talking about a powerful group of people who surveyed the land, who are vibrating at their highest levels and highest frequencies, who are practicing their highest level and form of spirituality. So first, even debate this topic, you have to understand the two differences between the words,
But
because
I didn't.
because they don't mean the same thing.
I wasn't debating anything. You asked me
I'm
about.
not debating, but I'm just saying though, if we're going to have a discussion, you have to get better educated on what we're speaking of, because once I start going to historical places,
but that's the first thing I said to you. You asked about geographical location. I said I would have to look it up. I'm not going to remember what time period the geography was. Obviously, laws and kingdoms and empires was dividing up lands and conquering lands and changing what was the
and
territory.
this is my point right here. Y'all studying a lot of religion, but the thing is, you're not studying world history and world geography. When you study world geography, you would know that Egypt, or Kemet, has always been in the northeast corner of Africa. You have West Africa and you have East Africa.
But
and
what's
both of them deal with the mystery school systems. So when you understand this right here, you will understand that's a fallibility in the Bible when they say that Egypt is in the Middle East.
Egypt in the Middle East, as far as what?
In the Middle East. It's always been in the northeast corner of Africa.
So where's Egypt at now?
In the northeast corner of Africa.
So you saying Egypt back then?
According to your Bible, Egypt is in the Middle East. That's a misnomer, because the Middle East is a term that didn't come out to like the 1950s, 1960s. So once again, you're studying. So once again, when you guys get into religion, y'all forget to study world history, world geography, and basically etymology, because you have to understand the roots and bases of words. So then when you understand the roots and bases of words, you can understand a time period of when this was called this, or when this was called that, or if this even correlates or corresponds to this. You see?
So when Egypt was in power, it was the same size it was today?
Egypt has always been the same size and always been the same place.
So you saying Egypt never changed how big and how much territorial it covered?
What you have to understand is we had upper and lower kingdoms, and yes, we did have trades with different people. And yes, we did go around the world, because if you want to be honest.
No, the question was, you saying Egypt's territorial size never changed?
As far as its original body, no. But as far as spreading its knowledge and going around the world, yes. Because we built pyramids around the world. We shared our knowledge with everyone. We even have pyramids along the Mississippi River.
All right. So the Egypt.
Let me finish. We had some of the biggest pyramids in the Americas, but they tore them down and turned them into mounds. And we have to understand is that you have the Temple of Isis in the Grand Canyon. So ask yourself this: if we wasn't expanding our body and we wasn't going around the world, how did the Egyptians have a temple in the United States?
No, the question we're talking about the territory. You say because the Bible gets Egypt wrong. So if a land was conquered by the Egyptians, over towards the Middle East, you're saying they wouldn't consider that part of Egypt now?
Say that again.
If Egypt spread out, because at one point Egypt was a huge powerhouse in history. You saying
But
that
wait,
land is not considered
But before
Egypt
you get
at
into
that
that,
point?
but before you get into that, Egypt wasn't one of the most oldest places. It's actually one of the most younger places. It's just that at that point in time, everybody had gathered the knowledge, and it became one of the most high vibrating places.
No,
But what you're
the
trying to
question
say is
the question is like just like right now, if somebody came and conquered America, conquered
right.
let's just say the West Coast, all of the
Yeah,
West Coast states,
they usually name it after them. Yeah,
and then they say, all right, it's going to be called the Eurocentric state, and they got let's say Oregon, California, Washington State, and
right.
stuff like that. 20 years later, we take the land back and it's back to California. Obviously, at one point in time, California was smaller or didn't exist and then came back. So you saying when they conquered, Egypt started conquering bigger territories, that they wasn't considered Egypt?
Not so much as conquering, spreading knowledge, brother. As far
Regardless
as their
of spreading, you're saying it stayed the
as,
same exact size as it is today from way back then.
as far as their same body, as far as their same territory, it remained
It
the
never
same.
changed.
It remained the same. But they always had to fight off different groups of Semitic people and whatnot and different invaders, but it always stayed relatively that size in that area. What I'm telling you is that we have traveled around the world, and through traveling around the world, we have built pyramids around the world and have spread knowledge around the world. Once you understand that the world was once one and the world was once Pangea, you understand that the Mississippi River is the Nile River. That's why all the pyramids will line up and fall in line with each other.
The world's still Pangea. Take all the water out.
You dig what I'm saying?
No, but just so we can confirm, you're saying historically Egypt never changed the territorial size; it stayed the exact same throughout all the generations.
We rule upper and lower Egypt and Kemet, and yes, we did do trades and whatnot. But as far as our main base, we try to keep it relatively the way it was.
Like the USA, the main base is in Washington D.C. But over here in California, Washington, and stuff like that on the West Coast, that's considered the United States. You're saying Egypt didn't do that?
They didn't expand. Did they expand? Did they get bigger? That's what I was trying to say.
What I'm trying to tell them is they spread knowledge around the world. So if you want to consider that as putting their mark on it, then yeah. But I mean,
the size of Egypt don't matter though.
Yeah, it don't really matter.
No, but
it's just
what
like
I'm saying is Washington D.C. is a small area. But
what you have to understand is Washington D.C. is different from the United States. You have to understand Washington D.C. is different from the United States.
But what I'm saying is if somebody say where's Texas at, somebody will say it's in the United States.
Right.
Okay, cool.
It's the same as if Egypt spread out. If they considered it Egypt, regardless of it not being in the original small location, that's not inaccurate because it was yeah, I mean it was owned by Egyptians.
What you have to understand is, yes, they did go around the world spreading knowledge, and they did share different thoughts and
but did they colonize the land?
They colonized the land. Okay, yeah.
Government right, that's all. Yeah. So it was considered Egypt. It might not be today, but it was considered Egypt.
What was considered Egypt?
What was considered Egypt?
The other parts of the land other than where they inhabit today. That's all I'm saying. You making it as if it stayed as the same and it never nothing else was ever considered Egypt. Egypt never was considered bigger than what it was.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. From the perspective of them going around the world and not and planning their step. Okay, right. I can see it from that point of view, but I was coming from the aspect of Egypt itself or Kemet itself.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying. The actual, okay. I'm just saying.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Even with the Moors did the same thing. The Moors went around from 792. I mean, from 711 to 1492 as they ruled Europe. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they had concubines. You got to think about it. If I'm the Moors and I'm taking y'all the Dark Ages, I'm gonna take all y'all fine women too. I mean,
right? Go around slapping up motherfuckers.
That's just logic. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Right.
And
so yeah,
same thing happened in religion. You know, Christianity enslaved us for 500 to 600 years, and then Islam or Mohammedanism enslaved us for like 700 to 800 years. So
now let's look at that. let's look at that. The point you just brought up. The difference is if you go to the Christian Bible, nowhere did God command them to enslave people.
Deuteronomy 28.
Woo!
Go ahead. Let's pull that up.
Well,
But what I was hold on, but right before, because we're gonna talk about that. The
What you have to
Quran
understand
is
is- what you have to
directly
understand
told
is-
they can. But let's go to Deuteronomy 28. I'm gonna pull it up
What you have to understand is that the Bible condones slavery.
and show me.
Yeah, you have to show this nigga.
Just simply type in verses that condone slavery in the Bible.
No, I mean show me the verse. You brought it up.
Bro, you gotta type it in. Verses that condone slavery in the Bible, and it'll give you the verses.
I don't know. He wanted me to go to this first.
Man, forget Deuteronomy, because it'll probably show you 2 Peter.
I'm not going to. No, we're sticking with the verse that he bring up. I'm not going to jump around.
And then just put verses in the Bible that condone slavery, and it'll give you Deuteronomy and St. Peter.
No, we're going to stick with the verses you bring up.
Out slavery. Verses in the Bible that condone slavery.
Condone would mean God authorized it.
Is that
Right?
the word you wanna go with?
Yep. There you go. Condone slavery. Yep. Type that. See, 12. Well, what's the Bible? Yep. There you go. Right there. You got your verses right there. You got your verses. Start. There you go. Press start. Bam.
You said start.
Go back up. Go back up. Go back up.
Nah, I ain't.
That ain't it? Okay.
We gonna have to read this.
Okay. Have to read it. Yep. Hold on. Here, go up. Here they are right here. Woo! Ephesians 6 and 5. Slaves,
Wait, one
obey
second.
your
Hold on.
earthly masters with respect and fear the sincerity of heart, just as you would show to Christ.
Hold on. 1 second. Let me say the verse. Say it again, so I can. I want to pull it up.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5.
All right, Ephesians 6 verse 5. So
Slaves,
Ephesians chapter 6 verse 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. How does that condone enslaving people? A lot of Christians were enslaved at the time. See, look, you brought up the New Testament, right?
the Bible condones slavery.
No, wait, hold on, listen. You brought up the New
Read
Testament.
it one more time and really read it.
Wait, listen.
Really,
Read it one more time.
just read it one more time
Let me
and
pull
pay
it back
attention
up.
to what you're reading.
It says servants. So that would be, whoever's serving, slaves, whichever way you want to put it.
Right.
Be obedient to them. It don't say Christians, to them that are
Who's
your
them?
masters according to the flesh.
Who's them?
With
Who's them?
fear, the slave masters.
What are we talking about?
So then what are we talking about then?
Wait,
Thank you.
listen. If you let me finish,
All right.
I got to make the whole point. You brought it up. Let me address it. So it's telling that anybody that's a Christian and you have a slave master, you have to be obedient to him. Now, mind you, this is what the Christians in America used. So I could pull up a verse where it says anybody. Now, mind you, this is saying according to the flesh. The same New Testament says that Christians are, if they have it in their position that they're slave masters, they're supposed to allow other Christians to be free. Because we have one master, and our master is Christ. We're not supposed to be masters on earth.
I don't know.
We're supposed to free our slaves if they have that ability.
They see this.
Right.
That's totally different than the Quran saying that I can have sex with my with one of my slaves, even though she's already married, because I captured her.
She got it. Deuteronomy 21 verse 10.
Hold on. Let me go there.
Yep, she got it.
Now this is the Old Testament.
Of course. That's where most of slavery verses come from.
So
That's how they're able to push the agenda.
hold on, let's read it.
10.
And we're gonna read it, and we're gonna read the whole thing. When you go forth to war against your enemies, and the Lord have delivered you into your hands, and you have taken them captives, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you have desire unto him that you will have her to be your wife. Now this says you got to make her your wife. You shall then bring her home to your house, and you shall shave her head and her nails. It says, and you shall put clothes on, put the clothes of her captives from off of her, and she shall remain in your house, and she shall cry and have time to, get her sorrows out. And after that, go unto you, and she can be your husband. Now, and this is the key here. It say, now, if she shall be that you got no delight in her, that you shall let her go her way, but you shall not sell her for money, because that's what people do with slaves. You're not allowed to sell her as a slave or make merchandise of her because you have humbled her, which means she was a virgin.
Oh shit.
So
Man,
you're not allowed.
You good.
He said you have humbled.
Man, hey, they on everything. Hey, on everything. Man, you never got a PhD in that one.
Boy,
Hey, that
you
was good.
talking that pimp shit,
Hey, on
dog.
everything. You
He said he
good.
humbled. He humbled that
Said
bitch.
humble her. I said, damn.
Dang,
Now look.
So funny.
that's some iceberg slim type of shit.
Now look at this though. You're not allowed to make merchandise or anything like that. Now I could pull you up the verse in the Quran that's completely different than that. That's why I said they're not the same. You're allowed to do that in the Quran.
They said rap. The Quran say to wrap that shit up.
Right. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, bro. We got to get going.
Yeah. So, like I said, that doesn't say that he condones slavery. That it said you got to take her as your wife. You can't make merchandise of her.
Yeah, but you just
You read
totally
that, right? It said you're not allowed to make merchandise of her.
My
You
brother,
can't.
you just totally ignored all the other bad shit that you take her home, shave her head, cut her.
Yeah, because this is the
all
thing.
that.
Look, let's read what.
But she ain't a slave though.
Exactly.
Like, bro, come on.
No,
bro.
hold on.
Bro.
So
It's not
look,
my-
it says
That's
if you see.
that's that dark and doom and gloom shit I was talking about. You got too
No,
much
look,
of that shit,
verse
man.
11.
Let it go,
I
man.
don't like that stuff. That's scary.
That's
No,
scary,
let me
bro.
read.
It's
Look,
like scary
let's look at
movies,
the let's look at the context, because it's talking about these people might see a beautiful woman. Yeah, if she's a beautiful woman, long hair, now mind you, she's a
Shave her
captive
head.
now. Yeah, you got to shave her head off, and it says after all of that, if you still desire to be with her, you can marry her, but you have to allow her.
Whatever you want to do, man. Just don't
I'm
worry
not-
about her and her feelings.
Hey, on everything.
Like,
Forget
come
that
on,
she's
bro.
a human being.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Come on, bro.
Exactly. Why would you do that to a beautiful woman? I mean, who in their logical mind would do it? Makes no sense.
That's that
This-
doom and gloom shit, man.
Hey, listen, this
That's
is
what
the
happens when
old.
you get caught in them books.
This is the
You
old.
start not to think.
No, hold
Let-
on.
let
All right, so
men
look.
think for you.
Let me respond. This is the Old Testament. As they got older in society, because God also set them up laws. Like, if a man commit adultery, he shall be put to death.
Why?
They had no laws back then. Like they didn't have no police force like today. So they had laws to do, the Moses laws. They had a bunch of laws they had to follow. Now, when Jesus came, he
If I can't commit adultery, why would God give me all this damn sperm cells? And he give her one egg a month. Like somebody was supposed to populate the earth, and somebody wasn't.
You can't have more than one kid with your wife.
Yeah, but yeah, I get. But now,
You got some people got 10 kids.
that's some childbearing hips, man. That's a bad woman, man. I wouldn't want to put my wife through all that.
Oh,
You know?
But
you
it's a
know
few
what's
of
like
them.
when it
It's
goes
a
in
few of them that do it.
prime ministers and they start crowning. And oh man, that's horrible. Some of them eat cornstarch. Some of them eat drywall. Man, it gets serious.
Shout out to Serene Roberts.
Exactly,
She said,
Serene.
why would you want to do that to
Come
me?
on now.
Come on, man.
And
I
she
mean,
becomes
different
dog
cultures.
now.
You got some cultures where the woman want to have a lot of kids. I mean, I can't speak for everybody.
Nah, we talk about shave her head.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's 613 commandments, and one of the commandments is to know all the commandments. Can you leave it? Can you give it at least 20? And see, that's another point I want to get. How
Go
in the
ahead.
world did Moses make all them goddamn trips if he had to come down with 613 commandments?
He made all what trips?
Moses up there getting high.
You have to understand.
Moses
The Bible only
got
talks
the 10
about
commandments from
the
God.
Bible only talks about 10 commandments with 2 tablets, but they're actually 613 commandments.
No,
That's what you don't understand.
laws. No, those are laws. Those are the laws of the land of the Jews. Like the 10
And
commandments
once
of God.
again,
The
and once
10
again,
commandments of God is the 10 commandments of God.
so then once again, why was Moses speaking in third person?
So we don't need another lie.
What you mean? Like
Why
pull
was
up
he
a
always
verse.
speaking in third person?
What? When the Lord your God?
And then my second question is, who is recording these conversations when nobody's around recording these conversations when God was here all by himself and did these things? Like who's recording that shit?
Let me address the first question. So you're saying, like, an example here, what you got pulled up, when the Lord your God gives you victory in battle, and you talking about like that example of third person?
Yeah, always speaking in third person in the
because
Bible.
He's talking on the behalf of God. He said, when the Lord your God, like, see, he's letting you know who's talking. This is God's talking.
Hit the like button.
Do you see what happens when we go into this belief system? It
What are
makes
you
us
talking
go
about?
more
That's
of the
common sense.
foolery.
If it's like me saying to you, yo, when you hit when your boss, like if I'm the owner of a company and I set a foreman up as the liaison and somebody's telling you, when your foreman tell you to do this, you do this. Why would they speak in first person? They're not talking about themselves. They're talking about somebody else. So when your foreman get instructions from his boss, you do this. Why would he talk in first person? That doesn't make sense.
Well, could it have been that Moses had a speech impediment?
We know he did.
Wasn't good at
but that's
speaking.
irrelevant. But this is proper talking here. This is proper language. If you're talking on the behalf of somebody else, you don't speak in first person because somebody else is talking.
Okay.
It's not I'm telling you this. The Lord said this.
We'll give you this one, but
hold on. But what about the I am? God told Moses to go down there and tell the people that
I am that I am.
Yeah. So look, when Moses told the people, well, who sent you? He said, I am. So basically, he's saying it was me.
No. The I am. Like that's like he has no name.
It's Moses is the one speaking it. So when he tells the people I am sent me, they're gonna be like, oh, well, damn, it was Moses.
He did, but did he? Yeah, come on now. He didn't say
that's just common sense.
Well, you asking the question. He didn't say I come in my own name. The I am sent me.
Yes. The higher version of Moses.
But it's so crazy that people recorded these conversations with God when no one was ever around, but have all this recollection, all these documentations.
You mean like the story of Horus, like the story, like those stories that are written on the walls?
You know what I'm saying? It's real funny in the Bible.
Like the stories that's written on the cave walls that you're saying is accurate.
I have no recollection of any of these authors or anybody.
Right.
And it's kind of funny how we can't find
the
none
stories
of the
on the
in the
wall?
Bible and none of their bodies.
Who put those stories on the cave wall?
None of their lineage. Where's the lineage of all these people mentioned in the Bible?
Who put the stories on the cave wall?
Because we can see the lineage of the ancient Kemites. We can see the lineage of the Dogon tribe. You see what I'm saying?
Who put the cave wall?
Like we still see these people today.
Who put the cave wall stories up there? What's his name?
That's another question. That's a good question. If all this shit supposed to happen in Egypt, which is in Africa, why these niggas got American names? Matthew's American name, bro.
Is it?
That's not an African name.
Let me answer that.
He going to ignore who put the stories up on those cave walls, though.
Okay, after that, after you answer,
show that.
After you answer that question, he'll answer your question. I promise. I'm taking back control of the show. I'm sorry.
So Matthew is Matthew is a Hebrew name, like the actual derivative of Matthew. That's a Hebrew name. It's not an American name. It means gift of Yahweh.
Okay, once again, there were no Hebrews at that point in period time. You see what I'm saying?
You saying when Jesus was walking the earth, it was no Hebrew? What are you talking about?
They wasn't even relevant in that area, my guy.
No. The question was, you're saying the Hebrew language didn't exist in the time of Jesus?
Bro, Jesus never exists. There was no time of Jesus. It's all an allegory.
So 2,000 years ago, there was no Hebrew language?
Of course, there was a Hebrew language 2,000 years ago.
But so Matthew is not an English. You asked the question of why is it an American name?
But what I'm trying to tell you is, these are people that wrote themselves into history. They didn't exist until the 6th or 7th century.
You said Matthew wasn't. You said Matthew was an American name. That's just not true,
bro. These people wrote themselves into history.
The question you said was Matthew is an American name, and it's not true.
Not an English name. That's what he said.
Okay, it don't matter. It's still not an African name. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
John, then? Let's move.
Exactly. These are not.
You guys You guys could type these names in. You guys are like, I don't like this. You could just easily pull up the names. Like, we're not gonna go through a list of names. They have
Okay.
meaning.
Well, then King David. Okay, well, you never answered King David's question about the 613 commandments to at least give him 20. So answer this one. How did the penguins go on Noah's Ark? And so a penguin swam from Antarctica?
It's simple. All of this stuff is simple, man. The Bible says of the unclean animals, it was 2 of every kind. Of the clean animals, there was 7 of each kind. Kind. Not 7 are all animals. A horse is a kind. A cat is a kind. So a leopard, a tiger, those are cats. That's a kind. He don't need to bring every type of animal. We do like this is regular. This is regular.
Okay. Then we
No,
got
but
penguins covered.
but this is what we can easily observe. We can easily observe the same way you make 2 dogs and get a different type of dog. Like you can easily see adaptation.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I like this brother right
I like
here.
this brother, man.
I like him because at least he shows his face.
We gotta go though, bro.
And he's not like King Wise. I give him that though. I had a fun time with you. This wasn't a debate. It was a nice discussion.
No, yeah, I
Peace be
appreciate
with
it.
you.
Oh wow, man.
Peace be with you.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll when I do watch it, I'll try to put all the scriptures up of the Quran and the stuff that I brought up, just so people don't think I'm talking out of my rear end. So I appreciate y'all having me on.
My brother, do you have like a Cash App or something like that so people can support the page, or if they want to send you a donation or anything, you put it out right here.
Yeah, I mean, my Cash App would be Mr. Info Philly, but they don't have to, provide me money. Support your channel, like it if they feel free.
Okay.
What's your channel? Is Mr. Info Philly?
Yeah.
All right, peace, bro.
All right, appreciate it.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Take care.
Yes, sir. Be safe.
I appreciate all y'all, man. Please hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. It's all good.
Wait a minute. Evolution takes thousands of years. You can't get a penguin in 40. Damn. Hey, King David really is a scholar.